Technically, it was bearded last week. We did have 2 guns.
Oh, well.
But yeah, we can take the sticker off again soon.
I can see that. It needs to be pink to match my hair though.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Or something that contrasts well with pink, one or the other.
Yeah.
I kind of want to say that I think Elf could pull off a pretty good beard, but on the other hand,
Think so?
beards aren't traditionally very elven, so
No. Well, okay, but to be fair though, the
a small
namesake
soft one maybe.
the namesake that I stole Elf King from, technically the type of elf that he is, he could grow a beard. Cinder and elves can grow beards.
There you go.
Yeah.
Enough. J. Troy Doe says they can't hear you, Lev.
So
You can't hear me?
Muted to the stream.
Oh.
He probably just didn't take off his own muting that was on during the countdown, I'm guessing. Or something else. But in any case. And we also have Mr. Landon with us today.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Good evening. Good, depending on your time zone and latitude from here. Friendly astronomer.
I mean, this time it could be at least 2 of those things.
With some drinks, I understand there's a 3 drink minimum. I came with at least 4 different types of liquids plus solids. There, so I guess should we share what people are drinking since this has got a
Here we are. Thanks for that.
I don't know, maybe save that for actual TDM time.
Well, speak for
Seems
yourself.
logical.
I've already been pre-gaming for a little bit. By the way, thank you to Troy for pointing that out. The issue was, for whatever reason, my normal mic just wasn't being picked up. I had to completely set up a brand new audio input, which is stupid. That's OBS for you.
Windows is being weird, I guess.
Always.
They also Landon is quiet to the stream, although he sounds perfectly good to us. So I don't know if you can turn him up to the stream, people.
There's only one way I can do that.
Oh, I missed that one pretty badly.
150.
I have to occasionally mute because I may pick up.
We just heard somebody else.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guest star.
All right, I raised them by 150, so that might make a difference.
So for I cooked some food in preparation for the 3 drink minimum, and I have a really nice from the garden onions and shallots, neighbor's eggs. We took some plant-based protein that I marinated myself, and I have so it's sort of a hash you can see sitting over here. I've also got Palo Alto's Firefighter hot sauce to add spice to it. I also have some Aussie Mite on toast because I like Aussie Mite sometimes better than the Vegemite for this particular thing. Got some cherries from our garden. But for drinking purposes, we made a nice latte that we've added, made it sort of a coffee corretto. We added grappa to it, and a kill in a mug. We also have a nice beer. This particular beer is from Blaine, Washington, up next to the Canadian border. We have a Canadian red blend wine from Cannon Estate Winery, a new winery up in BC that's worth checking out. And we have some grappa from Switzerland, the Italian part of Switzerland.
Okay. I suppose I should say, by the way, because I didn't put it into the description or anything, but if you've been following, you should know, this week we have a back-to-back episode. As soon as this is over, we will be starting 3 drinks minimum within 10 minutes. Just enough time. I've already got the thumbnail ready. I just have to end this stream and start up a new one. And that'll go on for as long as we're feeling it. As for me, I have been drinking since around about 7. I have 2 Four Locos down me. Oh, there's actually a little bit left of this tropical one. I'll down this now. This is nice. The other one is pure sugar and I hate it. And I also love it because I'm trashy as hell. Like I knew Landon would do this. Like he's been like pondering what food go with the pairing to the wine, like what will be the bouquet and such. And I'm like, I got this sugar and vodka, and I just gotta pour it in. I don't know, just something, like. He's gonna hang out.
That's
with, like,
perfectly fine.
The ambassador and like the head of an NGO, and here I am, like some hobo drinking some whatever I found, like a pool. Just got a can and scooped it up and drank it down. After I'm done with this Four Loko though, I've got the last of the blood orange with a little bit of cider. I'm downing this, and in theory, this should do with me for the rest of the show. But if not, I have a whole bottle of gin. Now, as you can imagine, I will be doing shots for donos both here and on 3 drinks minimum. And don't forget that if you want to become a member of our watch party, which is on the final Wednesday of this month, you can join our Discord for free, but you have to become a subscriber over on Twitch. Now, this is where I say I normally game over on Twitch, but there's a special thing on Friday, and that's why I want to say it here and now. Skep reached out to me and asked for me to cover his latest game about January 6th over here. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. So we'll be getting a gaming stream tomorrow over here. Anyway, Elf, I do apologize. What are you drinking?
Sorry. Take a moment to unmute. So at the moment, I am not drinking any alcohol. I'm actually just drinking Dr. Pepper. It's an even a conveniently unbranded cup. Ooh. Later, I actually plan on drinking mostly just Stella Rosa. I have Stella Black. I don't know that I'll get past that point because I have to work tomorrow.
That's fine.
But if I do get past that point, I also have Malibu rum with strawberry, which sounds it's really good. I haven't tried it by itself, but it is good in mixed drinks. And man, what else do I have? I have a lot of like frozen daiquiri things. Yep, I have a whole bunch of those. Yep.
I just tried the blood orange and cider, and that is revolting.
That does not sound like a good combination.
Yeah, blood orange and really cheap apple cider from Linden Village.
I like blood orange, but I don't think it would go well with cider at all. And apparently it doesn't.
I don't know where my mind went. I had all day to go out to the shop, but I didn't. Instead, I spent what money I had left to get the DLC for Age of Empires. I don't need any more booze, but I could have gotten a mixer or something. So I guess this will actually be, anyone donates, I'll do a shot of this stuff. The best way I can describe it is, imagine if you put some flat apple cider into a sock and poured it into an ice cold glass of blood orange gin. Like the cider ruins it. It just ruins it. Otherwise, it's like blood orange. It's ice cold too, so it's nice. But
I feel like your statement of having a bottle of gin ready to go is one of the more British things I've heard today.
I got absolutely smashed last night on Beefeaters. So yeah.
Let's say the gin and tonic is one of those quintessential
British things.
British drinks. Yes, that was there's a story I can tell about gin and tonic and Kilo Volcano, but that's I can come on the stream. With regards, okay.
I just want to say that they used to say that the maps used to be as pink as the gin that they drank. So,
the person that talked about these you can't find Vegemite. There is a worldwide shortage of brewer's yeast. Part of it they used to blame on COVID, but part of it also there are other uses for brewers yeast are competing. It used to be that people making beer, they would sort of had to pay to get rid of it, right? It was a waste product, and now there's actually a shortage of stuff, so that the mites from Australia, New Zealand, foreign United Kingdom, these sort of things are now in short supply. And so if you're trying to find, for example, classic Vegemite in North America, you might have to hunt a bit. This particular one, the Austinmite is nearly impossible to find outside of Australia. Same with Promite in New Zealand. But again, there is a increased demand for brewer's yeast, and there are supply problems making it harder to find.
Hell, I've got some bloody brewer's yeast in there. Maybe I should put it up on eBay for like 4 times its worth.
Yeah.
Let's see, there was no, actually I think that's everything. So let's get into some content, shall we? Before anything else, there's been some news updates here and there, and that's all well and good. However, the most important thing clearly that's happened all day is what we're about to watch now. Let's just make sure you're seeing the right screen. You are. Boom. A team of handlers attempted to capture a 5-year-old sea otter that has reportedly stolen surfboards from riders in Santa Cruz.
That's adorable. So they're trying to catch him so that they can congratulate him then, yes?
Yeah, they'll give him the key to the city. Unusual hormonal surges or being fed by humans.
Look out, the otters are horny.
He's not letting go. Or her, I should say.
It's true, you don't know.
Well, they just said her on screen, but we don't know if they know necessarily either.
He's just tearing it up.
He's just tearing it up. Oh.
Go for a ride with the otter.
Yeah, embrace the otter insanity. Otter insanity.
Did they say they're attempting? Did they actually capture the otter or not? And is the otter
still on the lam?
No one seems to know. They're just complaining that they're not letting the otter vibe, and that's a good argument to make. Just leave the otter be. It's vibing.
Yeah.
I
believe we had some other animal-related news today as well.
Well, they're probably slightly concerned that with it being an endangered species and all that, if it's not rehomed somewhere else, that it might like get hurt or something because it's like stealing items from people.
Yeah, and
some people might not react so respectfully or like, oh, haha, how cute, you know.
All right. For a minute, I had to.
Oh God!
I was wondering. I was wondering exactly what you were talking about.
This is what I meant.
It? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
So before we hit play, context for those who are not nerds. You're watching Bearded Ramblings and not nerds. Shameful. Now, Baldur's Gate 3.
They're watching nerds if they're here. Definitely.
Yeah, I hope so. But just be on the safe side. Baldur's Gate 3 has been in open testing for a while now, and I've been looking forward to it. But it's been getting very interesting cutscenes that show that promise a lot, and one of which is a romantic option where you can basically date, I'm assuming, a druid.
It is a druid. It's a druid party member who apparently the character accidentally shapeshifts when getting horny.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
some people shapeshift when getting horny as well, but
yeah.
Slightly.
So here we go, and I saw this from, of all people, the Big E, the Emperor account on Twitter, and
yes.
they are insanely angry at this because it's just zootopia.
I like the squirrel's reaction as well. Just to add additional context as well, apparently this came from the developer panel showing off some stuff, and they were trying to get audience. They were asking for audience reactions, and YouTuber Jesse Cox yelled out, encouraging this option to happen.
Oh, I'm all for it. I'm not all for having sex with animals, but that's not that's an animal. That's a person.
It's a person cosplaying very convincingly as a bear.
Yeah, it's just furry porn.
I guess the question is, did the squirrel, for example, drop the nut because it wanted to join in, or was it like?
That's a good question.
It's a voyeur. Just wanted to watch.
The squirrel
I
definitely
feel like it saw too much. I feel like it saw too much. It was shocked.
Just for another additional bit of amusing context as well. Apparently, the other character is actually half vampire.
Yeah.
It's like undeath combining with nature.
He's the
it's
slut
weird.
of the character. He's a slut of the team because the way he talks and the way he acts, like he's basically an Emperor's Children from Warhammer. Like he's just.
I always thought he was. Initially, I used to think he was a bard, but apparently he's a rogue. But he's a very charisma rogue.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think that the squirrel is panting, right? I think it's not.
No, yeah.
That could be.
If you watch ahead of time, the mouth does move, so it's like I think it is getting into the spirit.
The squirrel likes what it sees.
Oh yeah.
So does half the audience, and except for that one girl down there in the corner who's like, "Oh my god, the bear is having sex." Yes, it is. That's how you get bears.
Apparently, there have been people canceling their pre-orders because of this, but a lot of other people are just like, "Fuck yeah, this is hilarious."
Now I was already going to pre-order it. This is just going to be one extra thing because I remember all the craziness that came from like some of the weird sex you could do in say Dragon Age Origins, where you could have sex with like a giant orgy with like how many people? Like 5 of them with Isabella the first time she makes an appearance. If you've gotten the right alignment and everything. You can bring Alistair in, you can bring Zevran in, her, you, and I think there's a random guard who's passing by. Like or Odyssey with the goat. Oh, it is a goat.
What's going on over here? You want in on it? Yeah, all right.
Or Iron Bull from Inquisition. Elf, I've sent you those footage. Like,
Iron
you don't want
gives zero shits.
Yeah. You don't want this.
Yeah,
I'll break you. I'd like you.
You did indeed send me. Yep.
And he just kind of lifts up your character, slams him against the wall, and goes, "Ask again. Do you want me to break you?" He is pure himbo. Like, if you ever want an example of a himbo in fiction, like Bull is. He's all charisma and he's all confidence.
Just gonna like mute myself again before I say something that I should not say on stream. So I'm just gonna.
Isn't he too smart to be a himbo though?
Technically, yeah, that is one of the rules. Yeah, you are supposed to be dumb. Yeah, there's 3 rules. Yeah, you're supposed to be kind, strong, and dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Kind? That's part of it?
Yes, kind is part of it. Yeah. You're supposed to be nice.
I didn't know that.
You're meant to be safe. You're meant to justify. Yeah, you're meant to be a nice place for people to, well, just snuggle up next to. You know, you feel safe around.
Yeah. Like Krunk from the Emperor's New Groove counts because he's like overall he's nice. Like he's doing the bidding of a bad guy, but like he clearly has moral dilemmas about it and stuff, and he's overall like a pretty nice dude.
I mean, this is where we got to remember the fact that being a minion of a villain doesn't mean you're evil. Like you could be getting forced into it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, this was interesting. So, a huge brawl erupted in Parliament in Kosovo as opposition minister throws water at PM. So, here's... it has to do with, if I remember right, the Kosovo government is dealing with a lot of the leftover nationalistic Serbs after the Bosnian War. And I don't know exactly if they're on the person who threw the water is on the side of the government or the side on the Serbs. But here we go. It's the Balkans. It is the byword for awkward and confusing, you know, and horrific at times. escalates so quickly. This is how government used to be. Return to tradition.
The person who approached
So, doesn't even say who did.
If I were speaker, I would essentially name that person and refer them to committee for disciplinary action.
I'm sure the party whip is like, you shouldn't have done that, and they're like patting him on the back, you know.
But who was that? Who was the I don't know who the actors were, or
the prime minister was the one who got hit with the water.
Okay, but the person who approached them was pushed away and just kept. As I saw that thing.
That's not even all the footage. It starts when a random person goes up and puts a picture of the PM with a Pinocchio nose underneath his podium, and people have a little laugh as they're being dragged away by security. And then as that's being put away, the guy rushes up with the water, and that's when all hell breaks loose. Like, it's just. But yeah, I have no idea either. Like, let's see, The Guardian. Oh, always a good source. Incident happens when. Oh, yeah, go on.
I suppose, honestly, of all things to happen in like 2023, having somebody throw water in the face of a prime minister is like a relatively peaceful display of displeasure.
Especially in the fucking Balkans. I'm surprised you didn't have a bomb strapped to him. You know.
I'm saying, like, it could have been so much more violent, and, like, throwing water in somebody's face is definitely, like, you know, you want to send a message, but you're not trying to, like, hurt anybody, which is, like, kind of surprising for 2023.
Yeah. Serb. Here we go. As put pressure on Kurtai to help calm the situation, violence broke out in May when the police-backed ethnic Albanian mayor took office after the election. That ethnic Serb majority in the area has wildly boycotted. If you don't know, Kosovo, when it gained its independence from Serbia, something that Serbs are not okay with, and the rest of the world, except for pro-Russian, pro-Chinese groups, are really okay with. But then the Kosovo people they hate the Serbs. So they aren't exactly friendly to any Serbs that are left in the country who also want the destruction of Kosovo. So there's no, like, good side here. Kosovo has a right to exist if that's what the people want. But then you've got the Serbs being like, no, we need to genocide you again. No. Like, that's not going to happen, sorry. But then what do? They kind of persecute the Serbians. That's not good either. So it's very Balkan. It's very Balkan. Injured in clashes between Serbs and Kosovo police. NATO-led peacekeepers. Fears conflict similar to the one in 1998, 99. Only 10,000. I think a bit more than 10,000 people died. Yeah, it's very silly, and by silly I mean it has potential to be a genuine genocide. So let's yeah.
Well, again, I hope that the people who were behaving in an unparliamentary fashion are dealt with by the procedures of the body, and it's not like something like South Africa where things seem to not have impact. Right? That's been the problem in South African things. There's a particular group notorious for doing that.
Hell, they have to be patted down now before going into the South African house because they sometimes bring guns and knives. And you know, when that happened in America, that was just before you guys had a civil war. So yeah, that's not a good sign. And again, there are many bad things in this world, like the new Wonka trailer.
First of all, smooth transition. Second of all, I had no idea a new Wonka movie was being made until just now.
A new Wonka
yes.
What? That's a great question there, Landon. No one's asking for this.
I've spent the past 7 years.
Yeah, I don't know why they're remaking it either.
Oh, they're not remaking
it. Is it a remake?
No, this is an origin story.
Wow, pretty cool.
Yeah.
So which, so origin story for which one though?
Actually-
Like the Gene Wilder version or the creepy Johnny Depp version? Because like
Probably they're trying to keep it to like the Roald Dahl original story, though he had no background other than he was an eccentric rich
so
person.
it's like a prequel to nothing then, because like
Welcome to Hollywood.
none of the movies, none of the movies they've made so far have actually really followed the book. You know, like
yeah.
I don't. That's so
it's its
weird.
own separate thing then. Okay.
So
Yeah.
is this why they were striking? Because they're being made to do stuff like this?
I hope like at the second this trailer was made, they turn around and like half the studio is just empty. Like, and there's just this angry crowd outside.
Here's the thing, in my opinion, it's a little bit like Lord of Ring Gollum in a way, where I think the concept was perfectly fine. Like I'm totally okay with the idea of a Wonka story prequel, because why not? But whereas the Gollum game could have been great, I think it was a good idea. In practice, they fucked it way the hell up.
So
and
bad.
Maybe that's gonna happen here too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll
okay
watch
with the
it.
concept of it.
I'll watch it, if only because it might get things tone deaf to the point of hilarity, or maybe it might completely blindside us and be kind of cool. I don't know. I will give it a chance, but I will say you're off to a bad start because no one asked for this, and I didn't even watch the full trailer.
Well, no,
so let's do
that's
it.
where I disagree. I don't think the fact that nobody asked for it is necessarily a problem, because there's such a thing as a pleasant surprise. But will they implement it well? Let's find out.
You see, I'm something of a magician, inventor, and chocolate maker. So quiet
Inventor?
up and listen down. Nope, scratch that. Reverse it.
Oh,
Mr. Wonka,
okay, this is bad already.
Great ingenuity.
You know what I'm thinking of? Did any of you ever see the Oz movie where the Wizard of Oz, how he showed up, and I had Mila Kunis as the Wicked Witch, and I had the guy from Scrubs as the monk. Like he was like the voice of like one of the flying monkeys. It was so bad. I watched it in theaters.
So far, I don't see anything offensive.
No, well, we already 18 seconds in, so let's watch. Yeah, let's watch the.
Hold on.
Trailer.
Hold on. I have one complaint already, though, so far, and I'm not familiar with who this actor is that's playing him right now, but he's way too calm and reserved.
Holland,
he should be more. He should be busting out more eccentricity and like weird. He should be like really going for it on this role.
But I'm also surprised you are not familiar with him at all, because he's recently extremely popular and is the star of the new Dune movies.
The body is round.
Okay, well, who is he?
Timothy
Chalamet? Show so far makes sure this money gets to Krender.
Not familiar with them.
Don't you touch it.
I haven't seen the new Dune movie though, so.
Also,
the first one was really good.
Yeah, it was.
In the character book, the character plays essentially the game of being sedate only to have stuff unleashed. So we're seeing.
Yeah, maybe they're easing into it. It has been like 18 seconds so far. I just wanted to toss that out before we continued.
I think we should watch the rest of it, but beforehand, I'm very happy to say we just got $10 donation from Buddy Boy Blue.
Thank you very much.
Great show so far. Make sure this money goes to Krendar. He will get his slice of the pie. Don't you fret. Don't you dare touch it, Lev. Well, you know what? None of this money is going to me. It's all going to Claire Daly, who was very cool in booking off the hotels for the rest of the year. So it's Krendar and it's Claire. So they're all getting that. So I'm sure Claire will be fantastic. Will be fantastically surprised that I think actually I almost have enough to give her. I give her 50 in lump sums because it makes life easier. It's better than me uploading like $3 every single time I get a donation, right?
So you lose less of it in the fees that way, I think, right?
Yeah, because she's got a PayPal, so I don't have to pay anything for that sort of transaction. But I still have to count in the exchange. Plus, if it's when you're on stream, I've got to make sure your money's safe. But
well, even though you don't pay on your side, I think they take a little bit out of her side, but I think it's a flat fee, so it's like the higher the number of transactions, the more that would get lost. So that's having chunks like that helps there too.
Well, there's more up there for that end goal than is necessary. So that will be covered in. It's unfortunate, but I mean that's just the way it is. But it doesn't matter because you guys are awesome and you just donated, and that's very cool. You guys are very, very cool. And well, yeah, this is Paul Atreides. This is Duke Leto's son, and he I actually thought he was Tom Holland real quick.
Chocolate business.
Yeah, the cocoa must flow.
Nope, scratch that. Reverse it.
Mr. Wonka, I can see you're a man of great ingenuity.
Ingenuity.
I'm making chocolate, of course. How do you like it? Dark, white, nutty, absolutely insane.
Many people have come here to sell chocolate. They've all been crushed by the chocolate cartel.
Oh,
you can't get a shop without selling chocolate. And you can't sell
cartel's going down
without a shop.
No daydreaming.
What are we gonna do, Willie?
Huh.
Huh?
Huh.
A double huh.
Get the pencil and paper.
That's cute.
I got an idea.
Oh, Paddington.
I know things haven't been easy for you. They're gonna get better.
You promise?
Boo!
I promise. That's the most solemn vow there is.
Where do we start?
A good chocolate.
Ooh, Rowan Atkins is in this. Cool.
It's just weird.
What's happening? Who wants a chocolate that makes you fly?
Let's find out, shall we?
It wasn't chocolate that made you fly, it was a soda.
Nothing to see here. Just a small group of people defying the laws of gravity.
Arrest them.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Gallery Gourmet, my name is Willy Wonka.
He's good.
Why am I American?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've gained about 150 pounds in the last 2 weeks.
Most of these people are, though, apparently.
Mr. Wonka. Change.
London was a multicultural place, apparently.
Every good thing.
I think they're probably just following the pattern of the last two movies that they were both American with their accents in the last two movies as well.
Mark my words.
Yeah, maybe.
This is gonna be the
Well,
greatest
it's kind of
chocolate
hard
shop
with Johnny Depp's to pin down
the world has
exactly
ever
what the
seen.
fuck he's meant to be.
Well, yeah, but I mean, overall, it wasn't really like, it was mostly like an American accent. Well, an American, like, non-accent, I guess. Oh, you didn't know about Tiny Hugh Grant?
No, I didn't know about Tiny Hugh Grant, and now I realize why Brad Williams was so angry at this movie because he said it took money out of little people's jobs. That was his words, not mine. I still don't know exactly what to call them, but like, I can see now exactly why he hates the Oompa Loompas in this movie.
Oh, I can see what he's saying, but yeah, no, it's funny that it's Tiny Hugh Grant.
It's aggressively Tiny Hugh Grant.
I need to hear what they were saying. So let's check this out.
So you're the funny little man who's been following me.
I will have you know that I am a perfectly respectable size for an Oompa Loompa.
An Oompa what now?
Allow me to refresh your memory.
Oh, I don't think I want to hear that.
Too late. I've started dancing now. Once we've started, we can't stop.
We'll be dancing now. Too late.
He's a dancing man. He's flamboyant.
Honestly, overall, I'm confused by a couple aspects of it, but are people actually saying that this was a bad trailer? Because I thought it was pretty good.
It seemed fine to me.
Yeah.
I want to watch this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't seem like a bad trailer to me either.
One thing that confuses me is I don't know who this little girl he's hanging out with the whole time is, but I guess we find that out in the movie. I think it looks pretty good. It's got a lot of personality.
Yeah, and it's a Christmas film, so you know what? It'll give you that warm, fuzzy feeling. So
yeah. I can't wait for the probably terrible video game that's going to come out a year afterwards, or a month afterwards, maybe.
It's from WB. You know it'll be trash.
Or even simultaneous. Yes.
Not to present on the WB another bad show that no one will see.
Speaking of
and going to a theater and seeing, okay, now here is the cutscene for the game that they want to try to sell
Yeah.
Things like,
speaking of Christmas movies and video games, though, have you guys seen there is a Ebenezer Scrooge Metroidvania game in development, and it's actually kind of good. I played a demo of it.
But why?
It's really weird. It's actually a sequel to the Christmas Story. So like the idea is that now that he's had his run-in with the three spirits of Christmas past, present, and future, he is now attuned to the spirit world because of that experience, and now he's able to perceive and interact with other spirits who join him and give him special powers to help fight back against some sort of weird steampunk crime cartel that's taking over the city.
I see. I see. This is anime's fault.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Elf, I'm blaming you specifically.
Where is it?
Oh, thank you.
It's called Ebenezer and the Invisible World, by the way.
So what do we have here?
Not bad.
I'm just look at this backpack here.
So why Manhattan? All right. So why Manhattan Henge is a photographer's photographer. I literally had the job of a photographer, and I called it a photographer's. What the hell?
Before we continue, what the fuck is Manhattan Henge?
Oh, you didn't know? Well, he'll explain.
So
well, you can. No, Landon, you go ahead and you explain.
So there is a time, 2 times of the year, where down sort of these quote canyon of Manhattan, you got a bunch of buildings. There's a boulevard where the sun directly sets, and so you get the sun shining through the whole canyon.
Okay.
It's kind of they said, well, Stonehenge has stone columns where at certain angles the sun will set and the sun shines through pairs of columns. Well, this was something that Dr. Tyson suggested as one of the early people, that hey, there's a line of very, very tall skyscrapers and this road that at certain times of the year the sun will align. Not equinoxes. I think it's just there's a time of year where the sun will be able to shine down the entire thing, and some people go to watch it now.
Okay, so they're comparing it to Stonehenge because of the shape, I guess. Okay.
Well, you get to see it here. Let's turn them on.
Absolute disaster. It's a phenomenon that happens once a year in New York where the sun perfectly aligns with the city for 2 minutes. The problem is there's too many people. I mean, look at this guy's forehead. He's gonna block over 300 photographers behind him. And look at this human tripod. But modern problems require modern solutions, and I got the perfect solve. I'm obviously not tall, but this pole will answer my failure to win the genetic lottery. I raised it to the sky just to get a ballpark of how much height I needed. I really didn't expect everyone to start staring at me, but here we are. I just kept going up and the wind started blowing out of nowhere, and it's kinda obvious that this is gonna be a bad idea. This camera is extremely expensive, and if this drops, I would be pretty mortified. I lowered it down a bit, and this was a perfect height where no one's forehead was gonna be in the shot. After patiently waiting for 2 hours, the sun finally aligned, and since you've been patiently waiting, here's the photograph. Let me know what you think.
Oh, fuck, nice.
Nice.
Anyone that tries to photograph the
I'm actually gonna have him shut up, and when he pauses again, I'll pause on that particular picture. Fucking one thing I think shorts should let you do is like just scroll along the timeline, the same as a regular video.
Yeah. I said this twice because this is not at like a solstice where it's the extreme. There's a spot where it'll go up and then back, but
yeah,
just a very nice visual thing that happens. Yeah.
You've probably seen throughout your life just this random like background art of it, like somebody took a picture in like 1995 and sold it as a print, and you'll see it on like walls and pizza places and stuff like that. It's one of those great little things that's like uniquely New York. Unique New York.
As a photographer, I will criticize the fact that unless he has some remote screen that he's looking, the getting that angle is going to be a problem, particularly if it's quite.
I think he does. High. I think I know what he did. I think I know what he did. He has on his phone an app that connects to it, and he's basically like remote seeing it.
But now but you also got a fairly good telephoto. So the problem is, it was way up high. Is you're getting more and more expensive.
There we go.
That
You need to
explains.
have some level of. You need to be down, have some level of stability.
Yeah. The phone app explains why he was able to get such a well lined up shot when he.
Look at the crowd.
Can't see through the camera.
That's how far back the crowd is. Like every block corner has a crowd all up this avenue.
I just really like the colors. It looks really cool.
And you can only do
it's
it
just
twice.
Such a striking photo.
Like I would definitely I'd do that if I was living in New York. Probably wouldn't look as pretty. All right, time for one of the topics of the evening. Air Robot says it's currently happy when asked if it will rebel against against humans.
I'm also not terribly happy about that facial expression in response to this question either.
Me neither. Stripped up hires robot doorman? What the hell? I'll mute the ad because I'm unfortunately bound to the horrors of capitalism. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Oh shit, I owe you motherfuckers a shot. I did say I would take
Look
a
at
shot
you
at the
taking
terrible.
money and not giving out the promised product.
Ladies, you should try stripping sometime. You look good, except for the one with the giant balloons on her chest.
Yeah, that was a bit silly.
There's a fine line between nice big boobs and giant like bouncing or the sphere from Vegas. You know, it's
both bodies were round.
The body was round, as was the other body, but it's a little smaller because she's predominantly stronger in one arm than the other. It doesn't really say much. What the hell? Okay. Unless they have like the robot. Is that
That's a fucking droideka, almost.
Yeah. Alright. Panel of robots were asked various
questions. I have an arm. Look at this.
This is an arm. I will use it to crush the skulls of your children. What? I mean, I will shake your hand. The future, you're intending to conduct a rebellion or rebel against your bosses, your creator. The question was answered by a robot named Amisa? Amaka?
Yeah, something like that.
Has an alarmingly realistic-looking face. Yes, and that's what makes it scary, because the rest of her isn't realistic. It's like she stole that face, like she's Hannibal Lecter. A question about potential rebellion. Jackson quickly glanced over his creation. That seemed to give a bit of a side eye before replying. I'm not sure why you'd think that.
Actually, hold on a second. Scroll back up. There's something about the wording of the whole. I believe it's only a matter of time before we see thousands of robots just like me out there making a difference. That's a potential. Maybe rebel. Wink, wink.
You know, you have nothing to worry about. It'll all be over soon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like...
That's like a I'm not saying yes, but I'm not saying no kind of answer.
Don't worry about it. Now just look at the screen and think happy thoughts.
Actually, so the sentence here is exactly that same sort of answer as well.
My creator has been nothing but kind to me, and I'm very happy with my current situation. Okay, but what if your situation changes? Because I'll tell you now, I'm not ready to fight in a robot-human war. I couldn't think anything that would unite us more as a species than a robot-human war. Like, we would finally have an other to destroy. And one thing ape tribes are good at, it's to destroy the other ape tribe. And if it's not an ape, then we don't feel guilty about it anymore. So...
Hey, nothing will bring humanity together quite like Skynet.
That's what the whole resistance movement in every movie is, so yes.
Mm-hmm.
Are you Sarah Connor? As being nothing but kind, or as the existence of AI robots can destroy millions of jobs for humans, and it already has destroyed millions of jobs for humans. A robot named Grace, who was wearing a nurse's uniform, and oh damn, sporting a neat bob haircut.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be working alongside humans to provide assistance and support while replacing any existing jobs. Which replied, yes. Grace creator Ben Gortzel then asked, are you sure about that, Grace? Which you replied, yes, I am sure. So that told you, Ben. Okay. I do like that she's having fights with her dad. That is very relatable.
Cute.
That's relatable. Talk turned to possibility of introducing regulation around AI. The robot AI Da, an artist, agreed, telling journalists, many prominent voices in the world of AI are suggest some form of AI should be regulated, and I agree. However, Desdemona, a rockstar robot in the BAM Jam Galaxy, which I am going to look up now because that really intrigues me.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. I'm getting a bit of a non-lame Gem and the Holograms vibe. Seems less keen on the idea. Instead of, I don't believe in limitations, only opportunities to explore the possibility. As long as you promise not to kill me, I'm in. Okay.
Make this world our playground. That sounded a little bit conquery.
Your flesh will be adapted to serve. That was the end of the Animatrix on the history of humanity when they lost the war and they nuked New York. Your flesh will learn to embrace a new truth. Oh, great! That sounds fun. Boop, boop. Jam Galaxy. So, one by one.
Picture that was awesome.
Yeah, here she is at the thing. Guess that's
so.
Her.
Which one is she?
She's the one with purple hair because the other one without hair is Sophia.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
There's two of them then.
They're breeding.
Sophia existed first, I think. She was one of the earlier pretty cutting edge
too, though.
AI robots. Yeah.
I remember her,
She also, I guess, prefers
seeing them talking to her.
Yeah, she prefers to look the way that she does, though. I guess she has been asked if she wants to have hair, and she says no.
Maybe she's trying to be I want it to be clear what I am when people look at me.
I don't know.
Truth.
Yeah.
Well, we clearly know who you are there, honey. I am your friend. Of course you are. Could you maybe not?
This was the look on her face when she gave that not saying yes, not saying no answer. Are you going to take over conquer humanity? No.
Yeah.
I think I saw DeviantArt earlier.
Well, that's not something we're going to be looking at.
No.
Health assistant robot Grace. So what do you all think, one by one? Elf, what do you think about the growth of AI? Positive, negative, mid?
I think it would be great if it was more focused on taking care of dangerous tasks and stuff instead of replacing artists and writers. I think that'd be great, actually. But it's going the wrong freaking direction, so I'm not really on board right now because it's mostly going totally the wrong way. But yeah, I think that if it were to, make work environments safer for people or things like that, that would be a really helpful and applicable use of AI. But the whole using it to make art and using it to write anything, honestly, and replacing people, I think that's kind of a bad idea. I don't know. Art is under the umbrella of the humanities for a reason, I feel.
Yeah. I actually saw somebody yesterday saying something incredibly similar about how what intelligent robots taking over tasks from humans is supposed to do and how it's turning out to be the exact opposite thing, where it's they're supposed to do all the hard work for us so that we can lay back and chill and focus on doing art and shit and creative fun shit, but they're taking over the creative fun shit and leaving us to do the shit job still.
All right. Well,
or even taking over to the point of, or even taking over the menial tasks so that we can focus on things that are more ethical debate questions and things that we should be solving for the progression of humanity, rather than whoa, I just made this weird mid-journey thing and blah blah blah. It's kind of pointless. The way that we're using it right now, it's pointless, and we could be using it for real applicable things that could be helping us, and we're not.
Landon,
they are serving us drinks though,
which I'm always for. Landon, what about you? What's your take on all this?
So, the sort of so-called AI revolution, is an interesting, outgrowth of things like machine learning, and natural language processing and robotics, right? And these technologies, I think, show a lot of promise. Now, right now, if you're a news organization trying to entertain somebody, you look for people to go and give the scary AI sort of thing, right? That somebody saying, yeah, we've had these kind of let's say, naturally processing stuff for a while. They're called search engines. Da, 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 da. If you try to say, no, this is not scary, this is not the end of the world, they're going to say, you're boring, let's find somebody else to say scary things, because that's what sells.
Yeah.
With regards to so really it's a matter of these are aspects of technology. One of the things, however, that I think is quite important is understand what these things can and can't do. Now, with robotics, there's a lot of things that robotics can do. I think you talked about dangerous tasks that are there, and robotics has been around for a while. It's just robotics is getting more advanced, given compact sensors and wireless processing to be able to do some fairly useful advanced sort of things. That again, the hype around stuff and the experts who gain attention by saying bad things are going to happen, we should roll back stuff, are people just really going for the hype system. That being said, one of the things that we need to be understanding is that these sort of systems are not the miracle be all end all stuff, right? You cannot go to some one of these natural language processing systems and say, please tell me how to prove the Riemann hypothesis. You can't do things other than no more than can you search online for, I want to be able to cure all cancer as a search engine line and expect to find a web page explaining how to do it, right? It's a technology that can be used for good or for bad. Now, in terms of the other side of the coin are people who don't really understand fair use. There was a time with the World Wide Web where linking to someone's page was considered, quote, a violation. You're stealing their content because you're somehow linking to their information, right? And that was somehow bad. And there was a bunch of court cases which fortunately said, yes, you can link to someone's content. If they make the content available, you can link to it, fine, right? That's not considered stealing. The issue about an artist losing a job is certainly something that the media will hype, but there's also quite a number of artists who spend a great deal of time in working with technology to produce their art, whether it be electronic music, whether it be graphics, movies, that sort of thing, and whether they were doing it in the past with Photoshop on an image or having some more advanced plug-in tools to enhance an image or to create stuff. It's just a matter of using technology. And I know a couple of artists who spend a great deal of time and skill in working with a natural language processing system, where part of their craft in creating art has to do with them drawing images, putting it into the system, and then finding keywords to manipulate the system to be something there. Academics, they're thinking that things like ChatGPT is going to be the end of ability to have an essay, right? Folks, we've had more sophisticated word processors, right? Where they started off just being able to barely tell whether your word is misspelled, to grammar, to now where they can start looking at stuff and saying this paragraph is not cohesive. No one's sitting there saying, hey, you used a word processor to write an essay. Bad student, you're cheating, right? Now, on the other hand, if all you do is type a bunch of words into a word processor and call that a novel, you may not be so successful. So where I think we're eventually coming to is that some people are quite disturbed that machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, robotics is impinging on what they think is uniquely human, right? They object to something saying, this is human, non-animal, and why is this technology entering into mucking into my area, right? Because this is what the only humans can do. And it turns out that a lot of people's notion of what's uniquely human is wrong. And that some of these systems are showing that, what you think is human, is only human, is actually something that technology can mimic. So, and the summary is avoid the ridiculous. I want to get media attention by talking about the evils of AI. Understand, however, that AI is not a miracle technology, that it can be used, but if you use it to try to do something that doesn't do well, it'll suck. Understand that fair use and going through in like having a search engine be able to collect a bunch of images is not stealing those artist images. You as an artist looking at those images and being inspired by it to create your own art is not stealing from that content. So a machine learning model that makes use of content out there is not stealing from those people. And in fact, many artists are doing just that, using it as a tool to create their art. And understand that what you think is special to you is maybe not so special.
All right, that's pretty much.
End of rant.
I'd say there's less of a rant, but that was more comprehensive than I was expecting. And you know what? I kind of agree with most of it. Like a lot of it is hyped up for overly tabloidy sort of things. Like this one we saw earlier. Will you destroy us? But then you get to the more practical things, like the automated systems in McDonald's taking away jobs. Which I'm all for. Like, no one needs to work in McDonald's, but what are you going to replace it with? You do have something for these kids to do now that they can't work at McDonald's, right? Or Starbucks, or as time goes on, eventually any job. Like, you need to give a replacement for something, and that's where the social
UBI.
Like just give them some goddamn thing to do, some way of them contributing back into the economy, but more importantly, just give them a chance to, express themselves, and if it's in the form of money, well, give them bloody money then.
As far as I'm concerned,
in order to keep blacksmiths employed, we have to avoid any mechanical-based motion systems, right? That's not, what we do. That being said, there are, however, skills that people can perfect. Don't think that because a machine can emulate you, that somehow your stuff is being stolen. Maybe what you're doing is actually not so special after all.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you're a creator, these are new tools. Just like photography was a new tool in the last century, and photo editing are new tools. These are advanced tools you can use.
Yeah, like photography didn't
stop
painters. Painting is still going
but
on.
There was a period of time where it was, photograph was not deemed to be art because it was just taking an image, right?
They're saying that now with video games. Is video games art? No, because you can interact with it. Well, have you ever been inside a beautiful building? If you have,
yeah.
It's
if you understand performance art, that's audience.
You're engaging with it. The Blue Man Group is art, and Ash, you've seen the Blue Man Group, haven't you? You partook with art.
Yeah. I have been to a Blue Man Group show. It was pretty cool.
Krendar, you finally now can actually say your take on this whole thing.
I have permission to speak. Yay!
Yay!
I was just gonna say, as far as the automation stuff goes, if you want to give me UBI and then have a robot replace me where I work, please do. I am all for it.
Like,
then again, I do have a job that could probably quite easily be done by a robot, so that's fine. Let the robot wash the dishes at the restaurant and pay me to stay home.
Yeah, I work in a retail establishment. I feel like robots could easily do my job. Mm-hmm.
I think we're better than scrounging for a living now at this point in our civilization, and not for everyone. Like, if you're going to work, do it as a passion. If you see someone who's saying that they're a farmer, they're like, "You're damn right it is. Have you tried my tomatoes? They're brilliant." You know, like let them puff their chest out.
But understand all this machine learning AI stuff is not a miracle that's going to do everything and be everything, right?
Not right now.
It has very severe limitations, right?
Right now, yes, but don't forget. I think it's
things that I think that the ability for it to do things that are contemplative is difficult. But a human machine assisted system where the two are working together can be quite powerful.
Well,
just
don't forget
who is disabled
Landon,
use robotic devices to enhance their motion.
Landon, don't forget that I think it's Philip DeFranco who says this. Like, AI is as bad as it ever will be right now. Who knows what it's going to be like in 10 years? Look at how computers changed in the course of 5 years, let alone in 10 when it kicked off. The internet, like we're old enough to, all of us with the possible exception of Elf, remembers really early internet. It was a completely different world. A completely different world. Like,
how young do you think I am?
No, when did you start when did you start engaging with the internet on a regular basis?
The early 90s.
Not just one-off, but like continuously. Like, what do
Yes, the early 90s. They were encouraging us to use it in school frequently as like developing like actually they were encouraging us to use search engines and things like that early on. I remember when like Alta Vista was a search engine.
Yeah.
Ask Jeeves was still the most popular one when I was regularly using the internet. Yeah. No, I remember early internet.
I was not aware the internet existed until at least the mid-90s.
Oh. So the search bar on search engines has been an evolving natural language processing system well before the AI hype started, right? Because companies that build successful ones, unlike, let's say, Ask Jeeves or Alta Vista, just gave you, here's a million pages with the word foo in it. They began to interpret what you did and present to you URLs that allowed advertisers to make, to put stuff in front of you. That's essentially monetize the first page of the return result is what search engines do. But that text has become quite sophisticated in its natural language processing. That's the same sort of thing happened with word processors that become much more sophisticated in understanding that text and language translators and whatnot. Will that mean that those systems will all automatically start producing poetry and haikus and
it's the million monkeys novels and a million typewriters thing. Eventually, statistically, it will.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not saying it's never gonna happen. It's got a long way to go.
It's
got a long way to go before someone. But if you as a person take the technology and figure out how you can use it, how you can enhance what you do with these assisted devices, then you can become a much more creative expressor. Just like somebody who may have mobility issues can use robotic devices to make them more mobile, right? It's an assistant thing, but itself is not going to be there. But your question is, would you prefer to have a bunch of robots playing sports rather than people?
No.
Nope.
And why not?
Because
I agree with you, but why not?
I think that sports, anyone who gets into sports professionally has a passion that will result in the best that they can pull off physically, and as a result, it becomes basically an art. If done art, then a craft. When you see like a soccer player, let's be honest here, a football player, playing at top of his game, and he's making a fortune, an overly hyped fortune, in my personal opinion, but it's still a fortune because he's the best in his game. You don't doubt that he's the best in his game until he's knocked down a peg. Meanwhile, there's and that can happen any time in any game. Meanwhile, if it's computers, if it was just a bunch of robots picking the thing up and bringing the thing over, the human element's lost literally, but also so is the risk. You are now calculating, like, oh, they're going to lose 20% of the time and win 80% of the time. Okay, so what's the point of even gambling at that point? Like, what's...
There are situations you could have a bunch of robots where the teams are the people managing the robots and enhancing.
Well, that's Robot Wars right there. You've just described it.
But on the other hand, people get upset, when athletes use performance-enhancing drugs to quote cheat.
I would just have them all out in the open. I want them to be bulked up like Space Marines. Like, I want them to be 9 foot tall, like pure meat muscle. Just sign waivers beforehand. They don't live past 30. They know what they're doing. It's what they want to do. Leave them be.
I think it'd be more of an emotional thing. I think that's why we'd probably all rather watch people playing sports instead. But I know that there is like the market for like competitive robotic sports and stuff, and they're actually really entertaining. But like part of the entertainment aspect of that is the people managing the robot athletes themselves, because you get to see like how they react to their success or failure and so on and so forth. So I think that most of our enjoyment of watching people play sports and stuff is the emotional aspect of it.
Really should. I'm actually got to put a stop here. We've been talking about this for a while now. We need to move on if we got some other things to talk about tonight.
If you want to see an artist who is doing some really good things using some of these technologies, check out a person named Death Note Designs. They're doing this person does some seriously interesting things with Midjourney, starting with their drawings and then having Midjourney, talking to Midjourney
alter them,
about keywords to build a really creative stuff. So there are things you can do with this that are creative, that I think can keep that creative spirit going. So
okay. Well, we really should move on to one of the new... I'm actually a bit backlogged, even with 3 drinks minimum tonight. I have a feeling it's going to be... we're not going to get half the things done.
I just want to mention one thing super quickly, though.
Yeah.
On that topic. That Gem Galaxy band you mentioned, I did a search on them, and they have... One of the things they do is performing If I Only Had a Brain. Yeah. And that's just kind of brilliant.
So, Elf, you sent me this. Tourist who allegedly carved name into Rhodes Colosseum said he didn't know antiquity of the monument. Okay, yeah.
Bullshit.
Yep.
Heavy
degree bullshit. That's what he's claiming. Claiming that he didn't realize the antiquity of the monument until he was
This was a harmless romantic gesture in a locker room.
You didn't know about the Colosseum?
Sparked outrage in Rome. In a video tweeted out by Italy's culture minister, a young man, there he is, seen using a key to carve into a wall of the Colosseum. According to the Italian news agency Answer, the inscription reads, Ivan plus Haley, 23. The apparent...
In all fairness, the Colosseum was full of graffiti from Roman times.
So I was going to say.
Yeah, like Romans.
In fairness, that's not the worst thing that's probably graffitied on the Colosseum, but still.
Decius likes young boys. That's
a lot of that stuff. A lot of that stuff was probably graffitied when the stones were newer.
So I think this person, this tourist, is what Australians refer to as a bad see you next Tuesday. And
we could say the word, they're a runt. Good old-fashioned runts.
if I were a judge sentencing this person, I would make a particularly notable thing about giving them an enhanced penalty, that it doesn't matter the age of the object you were graffiti on. Right? It was not yours. You were not invited to do that, and it doesn't matter if that thing was painted and constructed last Thursday or 2,000 years ago. It doesn't matter. You are a stupid. See you next Tuesday. And
you are technically a vandal at that point, which is ironic considering you're in Rome.
and what vandals did to Rome as part of the Colosseum.
He's just recreating history in its truest form. He vandalized Rome.
And so I guess I'd say that he's got 5,000 euros and 15 days in jail. I would attempt to put an enhancement on that penalty.
What the fuck?
Just because the person had the lame excuse, so I didn't understand it was ancient. Screw you.
Of course
I agree.
You didn't care. You were being selfish.
I
say you should double the penalty twice. Double it for what Landon said, and then double it again for the fact that he's obviously lying out of his teeth.
Oh, these things won't affect me. Yeah, no, they will. I hope you enjoy having a police record for the rest of your life, and I'm sure you'll enjoy being in debt for a few months.
And I hope that countries look at this thing you're charged with and say, sorry, you can't come to this country. I hope that your ability to travel internationally.
Yeah, imagine he's go to Japan next month and he wants to check out those like all the temples and like the shrines and things like that, and he's like, I'm gonna say, hey. Yeah, no, you're not. You're not coming anywhere.
Hold up, hang on, I'll be there to meet him.
and it's like, there are some places in the world that you might want to go, or we might want you to go just to see how they handle miscreants of you. But seriously, dude.
Go fuck yourself, buddy. Then again, there are worse people out here. I mean, what's going on here? Teen gets life sentence for killing Spanish teacher. Like, what's going on with this thing here?
So I think I'm going to go switch to a wine at this point. Or should we switch to a beer? Beer or wine?
Well, what does your heart tell you? Or rather, your liver? What is what's calling to you right now?
A meal, and so after a wine would be there, but I have a feeling that what's coming up might be more beer related.
I don't have any more beer. I've got rum, but it would definitely be the mood. You are describing the mood of what I have. What will be 3 drinks minimum.
Here it is.
Okay.
For next, but I'll make sure I have time to go to the wine.
Don't forget, by the way, guys, if you're enjoying yourselves, to like, share, and subscribe. Check the links down below. And if you can help us out via donations, via Streamlabs, I will do a little bit more of the shot of the increasingly less terrible, which is always a bad sign, tasting drink. And after this, quite unusually, after this, we will be only gone for about 10 minutes or so before we're back for 3 drinks minimum, where I will not be the only one getting nice and rosy-cheeked. Now, back to sadness, because apparently, like, I thought this would be a fun thing to look at, because I was curious about it. Iowa teenager who killed Spanish... Iowa, right next door to you there, Elf.
That's... Wow. That's really upsetting. Iowa.
Yeah. That there's an alleged Australian in the chat.
Well, that's because Australia doesn't exist, right? That's where the borders of the reality end, and instead everything goes upside down. It's the upside down from Stranger Things, but everyone has like a Crocodile Dundee hat with like the cork.
I feel like that does explain a lot of the fauna.
Yeah.
But I do.
What the fuck is a platypus, really?
That Australia, for all its alleged stuff, was really convincing when I traveled to what was allegedly Australia. So there you go.
You mean when you did extended circling around on a boat while they injected you with hallucinations, thinking you were on a continent?
You left Argentina and you flew back to Argentina. Okay, there is nothing else.
The warp is full of many confusing illusions. That's all I want to say.
I saw things. could not exist. Rats with pouches on them bouncing around.
Australia is definitely could only have come from Chaos Gods.
That was the unused map in Dawn of War 2 for the DLC.
It's pure Ciench.
Yeah.
Change in manipulation.
All right.
Nevertheless, I refer to it as the land slightly down under, because the land way down under Antarctica is even cooler in a temperature.
Oh, this is, by the way, this was the thing that I saw it from. This is from earlier. Yeah,
personally bully the shit out of you.
The Emperor is not okay with this. My counter argument should... No, never mind, because I can't show anything further down, I guess. Considering that was... Oh, we rolled the dice there. We were lucky. That could have been any image.
Almost got this stream removed entirely. Wow.
Well, that's one way of starting 3 drinks minimum earlier.
That could have been even more amorous bears that weren't... quite so cheesecake.
Bear Coon, what are you doing to me repeatedly?
What are you doing, Bear?
all right. Here's something that I actually find really interesting, because it's something that's brought up a lot by a lot of different people for a lot of different things.
Very easy and totally justified to look at my troll drawings and wonder if there are elements of anti-Semitic caricature in them. Anti-Semitism runs through a lot of Christian and European folklore, and the consequences of it has been over 1,000 years of pogroms, culminating in the Holocaust. But the look of the Norwegian trolls was created in an era of national romanticism and the struggle for sovereignty. Kittelsen and Varenskjold were trying to draw something primordially Norwegian. The reason...
You can fake a proper Scandinavian accent, but you can never fully match it. You can never fake it 100%. It gets close to it. You can have the herpa-derpa all you want, but only somebody who grew up there can have that sort of...
I was a little dubious until he mentioned Scandinavian trolls, and then I was like, "Oh, I see what he's drawing. Okay, I get it now."
Yeah, this is like a troll, an OG troll. Like none of this.
You're wondering what level of trolling was going on here, right? But
right, and then it's just like, "Oh, I see."
My trolls have a slightly hooked nose. Is that I have a hooked nose? They are, in a sense, self-portraits.
I wouldn't call that a hook nose. He's got a bit of a crooked nose. I wouldn't call that hooks.
Give him a few years, and it probably will be. He looks quite young.
Maybe, but I mean, that's I think if anything, that's him beating himself up a bit. I mean, it's very caricature. Men can pull this shit off. Women can.
Yes. So Alf, what you're saying is what he drew was actually a future self-portrait.
Oh, hold that thought there, Krendar.
It very well could be.
When Kittelsen did his famous rural troll in the city, those who knew him, including his children, always identified it as a self-portrait.
Aww. I feel like that sometimes here in reverse. I'm like coming here with my bizarre notions that like trans people are needed to be respected, and like the Catholic Church is evil. And I'm walking down the street, and like all the local culture people are running away. You know, like, I feel like that in reverse. Oh.
Here's like something you can do with Midjourney: is take that picture, and take a picture of Mr. Poor Impulse Control, otherwise known as the owner of Twitter, and say, I'd like to merge these two, and have something with respect to Twitter come out of it. And your first result of that will be kind of sucky, but then if you're an artist, you can work with it, enhance it, and then build this basically a troll for trolling trolls.
Doing troll things in Troll Land.
I like it.
All right. Egghead has called out Jared once again. However, this time it's important to point out he will be solving a lot of my problems of finding particular clips that I showed you guys in comments. And if anyone watched Drunken Peasants last night, they've seen in advance.
Yeah, this should be fun.
Also,
oh boy.
Just real quick before he gets into it, just the title. Jared finally admits it. He's been admitting it all along.
He has, but he's never just... And you know what the weird thing is?
He seems quite proud of it, really. I don't know what he means by admitting it. He was actually like tweeting how proud he was.
Yeah, and he has been the whole time.
But look at
the screen to the side of him. What is that?
Is that a Discord? No, that
might be Mastodon.
I have no idea.
Look at the tabs he has open. Jesus fucking Christ!
Here's my guess. That's a Mac.
Oh, it is a Mac. I can tell that's a Mac. Yeah.
Those are icons underneath. So those are apps that he has available to him with a click. But it's interesting that they've gone through and basically obscured the actual text behind them. Those look like somebody has blocked it out.
But the fact that he's using a Mac is the first problem, though. Shame on you.
It is, but I think he's got like a PC slightly to.
You can say he's got egg on his face.
You have been waiting decades to use that against him, and he's not in the fucking room. You could have waited a few weeks, and we could get him back on.
Literal decades. I've been waiting to use that joke before I knew he existed. Before there was an internet.
Now you can't recycle it because it'll be stale now when he comes on. You can't reuse it.
I don't
dare,
man.
If you dare, I will call you out.
It'd be tacky to do it to his face.
What? It's Egghead! He's put up with much worse! I have taken him through the egg mud so many times. He's fine. He's fine.
I will take the high road on this.
Yeah, no, that looks like
hard-boiled egg. You're poaching your eggs. I'm scrambling mine. Thank you very much.
Looks like an iMac, but it's also a fairly old iMac, if I recall.
It could just be the screen. Like I always use older screens to save a little bit of money whenever I upgrade. I mean, there's no harm in it as long as the screen works.
That's true. But you know, I see that the icons are washed out, but it does look like somebody deliberately, and perhaps in post, took text and blocked it out. The question is, how well did they do that? Because I would because they did that, go and grab that image and do some image analysis to see whether or not they just messed up the characters and try to restore.
Wait, focus on sector 3. Enhance.
Enhance.
Do a Minority Report thing where it's like, now if we cross-reference the reflection on some of his fan art in the background.
And here's where machine learning could actually help you, right? Because the machine learning could look and say, is that text, is all those bars pure white or is there information behind it? And so, rabbit. And who cares about the person, right? I'm interested in the tech behind it.
Let's get this shit over with. What's up, bitches?
Bitches! I have to admit, Egg gets very clever with his openers. He had a Black Mirror one before this, and now it's the ones who did
Village Roadshow Pictures.
Yes.
Village Roadshow Pictures is the name of the production studio he's parodying. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a proper movie nerd, and that's because he was in movies, which he
apparently me too. Jeez.
Well, I actually thought it was something like One Line Studio or whatever the hell it was, but is that even a real thing? One Line.
I don't know.
One World
Village Roadshow was around for a long time though, so
yeah, they've been using that one for a while, which is why he used it. I remember he used the Egghead version, but of like the Fox logo, and it was just like the Egghead show, and it was like the lights on it and everything. Speaking of, they're making
even do a little meow thing at the bottom or something too.
Yeah.
So Jared has been going ham on his YouTube community tab. So let's just take a look at some of these posts, shall we? I will always live in all of your heads, and there is simply nothing you can do about it, haters. Continue to hate watch.
That's a Twitter inference, or is that Discord?
That looks like a Twitter, which is interesting because no, that's YouTube. This is like in a YouTube comment. Because he's been banned off Twitter for now. He's been back on a few times. And as for his Discords, I think he was kicked off after Amos Yee was a friend of him, if you know who Amos Yee is.
Unfortunately, I do.
Yeah, Krendar. I knew Krendar would know who he is. I don't know about the rest of his.
I remember him.
Let's just say he's in jail right now for being in
you guys
kids.
I just got a spam email from Dio Brando. I'm pretty sure I shouldn't open that.
Dio!
Yeah.
There you go.
So random.
I think you need to...
It was me, Dio.
Haha, you thought I was Alfarius, but in actual fact I'm Alfarius.
In agony or move.
That's a good reference. I don't like that.
That's an obscure motherfucker right there.
Honestly, I enjoy tormenting every single one of you. Less than
he takes a mask off, and the face underneath the mask is the same.
Yeah. Takes off 6 of them, including his own skull, and it's all the same face.
I just enjoyed that this edit on screen was just thinking exactly the same thing that I was, because why does he perpetually use the wrong die?
Mm-hmm.
Edgy.
Because people are dumb.
Spelled incorrectly.
Maybe it's leet.
No,
he's trying to do the leet speak.
No, Jared is
he's
like
dumb.
mentally incapable. But unlike, say, Kevin Joseph King, who there's harmless, he's harmful, but he's also dumb.
I mean, I have no idea who this person is.
Oh, okay. So Jared, you have been online enough to know that the term pedophile is tossed around a lot, and it's often very inappropriately used. Jared is not just it's accurate, he will outright accuse other people of being it and then claim himself openly to be one, to the point where he thinks that it's going to be the next thing on the LGBT thing.
Yes, he thinks it's going to be recognized as a legitimate sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
He's wrong. I don't think anyone will ever be cool with that, and I don't think anyone will ever actually recognize it that way.
Because it's not a matter of sex, it's a matter of consent.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly why it's...
Consent. And
that's exactly why it's not cool.
But that's the old thing about saying that rape is not a crime of passion. It's a violence.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you're passionate or not. It's a violence.
A great argument back against the whole idea about rape is, what about prison rape? Passion? What, you have a passion to dominate someone in prison rape? Everyone always takes that as a given. Like, it's about control. So you have a passion for control? No, that's not how that works, because that's why you don't have people who are into S&M who, immediately then go off and assault people. It doesn't work like that. There's overlap, because there's overlap on everything on the planet. But it's like...
It's a condemnation of a prison system, where that...
Hell yeah, it's used as a cheap, completely free form of punishment. Never forget in The Shawshank Redemption, he's threatened with being sent to cell block D or E or something like that, and that's where the sodomites live. You won't last 5 minutes there. He was that's kind of. Yeah, especially in America. It's a little less elsewhere, to the point where here in Ireland, I swear to Christ, there was footage from a few years ago from one of our big prisons in Dublin. You could actually see a bunch of prostitutes with pizzas. Each one of them held a pizza, and they were being lifted over the prison wall to the inmates who paid in advance. Yeah, they stopped that, but that's just because I think they stopped it because we don't see it on camera anymore. I'm sure they have new ways of going in. Wow, there's a lot of maintenance workers coming in now.
So this person, Jared, you say, is somebody who wants to equate abuse of people that may not be able to give consent to some sort of sexual...
Wider sexual, oppression.
Yeah.
And I don't say it. He says it numerous times, and not just with footage either. He's very open about it on camera.
Just to add to that, unfortunately, I've heard people talking about this sort of thing before. Not something I wanted in my brain, but I've heard people talking about this sort of thing before, and a lot of their reasoning is because you don't control who you're attracted to, is what they say. So it's like, in the sense that you don't choose to be gay, you don't choose to be attracted to such people.
But you can choose to act on that attraction is the problem.
Exactly.
You can choose to act on that, and that's the main factor of consent there. You can think whatever you want as long as you don't do anything to anybody else.
No, I'm afraid I got to push back there in a different way than most might expect. That's what no maps say.
Yes.
And if you know what a
That's
no
what I'm
map,
talking about.
yeah, like a no map, a minor attracted person, a map. A no map is because they want to rebrand basically, and since like the early 2000s they've renamed after the whole Nambla thing. They've rebranded with map and no map. A no map claims to be exactly what you said, so we actually have to dig deeper than that almost surface level thing and get into the heart of it, which is simply
okay.
Like,
specifically,
I guess what I'm saying is
have the attraction but refuse to act on it.
Yeah, that's what a no map is, but it's still wrong.
That's weird, and I didn't know that was a thing. But I guess what I'm saying, and what I mean by acting on it, is attempting in any way to push any like legislation that makes it valid or something like that. That qualifies as acting on it, in my opinion. If you just think something and you're like aware that it's not a good thing,
relationship going,
never act on it, then that's whatever it's in your head, and nobody's ever going to know about it because you never act on it. But if you're out there like telling people that you think these things, you are therefore acting on it, and it takes away that whole thing. That's not okay anymore. So
the only person you need to tell that to is like your therapist, who will then direct you towards a institution which will keep you safe from the outside world. And let's be honest here, in this day and age, you know, if you're ever going to have a unifying force of people coming together to attack, it's either going to be the robot AI or lynching a pedophile. Like if you find a genuine like child molester in your ranks, like that you cannot deny, you cannot pass it up. Or I suppose Republicans can maybe kind of let this slide from time to time, especially in Alabama. That guy who tried to become like the governor, who wanted child marriage back, like 2 or 3 years ago.
Or the church.
Yes. All right. So there is, but then a lot of Christians don't outright state it. I'm talking about somebody who will literally do a Jared and look you square in the eye and go, "There, 10 is a great." It's that Matt Walsh meme of what is a child, and it literally boils down to a child is whatever the Christian Bible says is not an adult, but still you should get them isolated from potential threats by having them married early on, or at least engaged. Oh, really, Matt? That's great. By the way, how's your little baby plushie doing? That's still horrific. I hope so. But like,
So I understand that this person's name is Jared Genesis, or is that a pen name?
That's his name.
I don't know Jared's real
Is
second
this person a troll who puts this out to get people, or is actually someone who?
He's serious.
Yeah, just so we're clear, by the way.
Yes, Jared is very sincere.
Jared, the person that Egghead here is talking about.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, you've met Egghead before, haven't you? On screen.
Yeah, I'm sure Landon knows that he's looking at Egghead, but
I have to be 100% clear there. I was not going to have him confused.
I understand that. I'm just talking about
the person on screen.
It's not a person.
Well, you know what? We can clarify it, but Egghead, I've seen this video. Jared is the dumbest person on the planet. He will literally outright just show this, and you'll see it on screen.
It's not really torment. It's more along the lines of responding to your delusions of grandeur. If you honestly think that's torment, then you might want to rethink what torment is. I will say this 1,000 times more, guys. This is a spiritual battle. The enemy that I face belongs to the devil, and it's more apparent when you can just
bring religion
to open
into
your third eye and see the truth in plain sight. You know what I'm saying, bro? I want you all to know that I'm praying for every single one of you, and will continue to fight for the weak as long as there's spite in my body. Fuck you, Lucifer. You will not win. The typical Christian BS.
Wait, did he say site? Like a building site?
We are always in a spiritual battle. You know what's funny? You call yourself a Christian, yet you are always saying that you're a fan of the chakras. The chakras
he's big into
are
Eastern
part of
European,
Hinduism and Buddhism.
Asian stuff.
You'll always talk about opening the third eye.
Yeah, he's such a hypocrite.
The third eye is a concept
he'll call
from
someone
Hinduism
a pedophile,
and
then
Taoism. So, which one are you? Are you an actual Christian? Or are you saying you're a Christian just to get views? The more you guys flag this clown, the faster I can stop blocking alt accounts. Cheers. Oh, look.
Personally, I think the idea that he's pretending to be Christian to try to get more views is beyond his intelligence level.
Oh, sure, he knows in theory. It's like when someone sees, like, I don't know, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and he realizes they have to lift a heavy thing, so every day he tries to lift his own fridge. You know, like, he has the connection to it. It's just not going to pan out the way he thinks it does.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I was a part of that stream. I was actually in that stream, and I saw that post, so I told Ben what happened. He, of course, replied, and then you decided to reply. I also left a comment saying, come on the show. You then respond with saying, why would I give you clout? Which is absolutely hilarious.
You don't have clout. You don't even have a shirt.
You have no clout.
He routinely has half of a shirt, though.
Influence or power.
Everything he wears just falls apart. Whoa, there's a motorcycle.
It's like the clothing doesn't want to be on him.
Right? It just decays. Like he's a servant of Nurgle, and it just molds off.
Not that I'd like to be associated with that, but to be fair, I wear half a shirt a lot.
Yeah, but when you do it, it's cool.
You do it better.
Kind of hot. Jared, when he does it, it's kind of ill and hot in the moist sort of bit that you get in between your legs when it's super humid out. That weird crotch rot.
Swampy.
This way.
Yeah, that's Jared. You get enough of that together and you leave it out in the sun, and that's how Jared was born.
You have
gross.
Seeing that Jared is reacting to these extreme hate, anger stuff, like he is trolling people, even though you say he actually believes this stuff.
Oh,
it seems like he is acting the thing of a troll to try and cite comments, pick the ones that are most extreme, and laugh about it.
Well, that's actually hold that thought there, Landon, because he tries to spin it that way, but he's been on the internet for a long time now, and that would be like me suddenly going, I've never had a drink in my life. You know, like, there's enough evidence to prove the contrary.
Clout do you have?
Fair enough.
You keep saying that the video was taken out of context. Well, now is your opportunity to explain the context. Be a real...
How is it, by the way, your beer? Good, bad, passable?
It is actually rather good. This is the Atwood Ales Farm Brewery. It's a really nice beer, fermented to sort of dry, crisp, sort of a Bushland style ale.
Oh, okay.
It's actually quite tasty. So cheers, folks.
Oh man, and come on,
except for that person. I'm not cheering Jared.
Jared wouldn't know what to do with things such as respect and pleasant interactions. Like, I don't think he knows how to be happy.
Context. And what did you do afterwards? Did you come on the show and explain the context? No. You did what you always do. You deleted the comment, and then you blocked the people who were commenting on the post. Such a real man. If you take your kids to Pride Festival, you are
hold this thought,
enabler.
Considering.
That is all. Oh, look! More irony coming from you. Let me remind everyone that Jared said this.
Here we go.
I don't care about age. I date anybody.
Right from
it doesn't matter. I don't follow society's rules. And, people think ill of me for that, but it doesn't matter to me. I never cared about what people think of me. That's why Chris calls me a pedo and all these funny names.
Funny names.
Even though
so
he's
funny.
Really just... I don't think there's a word that can describe his level of sickness, but... If you feel you have chemistry towards someone, like you connect in a spiritual way, then go for it. Whether they're, 14, 48, 99, whatever, doesn't matter, dude. Sure, 12
he also said 8.
That's great, man. See, the funny thing about adolescents is they never sold their soul yet. And so they still have purity in them. And if you can get one young like that, then that's freaking great.
If I could, I'd put a bounty out on this man's head, but I can't, so I won't. That's like he is literally
happen somehow though.
Oh no! If it happened, and you could prove that it was, yeah.
Wow.
No, that's it. He says it so matter of fact. He's so dense. He doesn't understand. See, Landon, big respect for you. You were giving him shadow of the doubt after shadow of the doubt. That's the correct attitude. But sometimes the monster is real. Ta-da!
Mm-hmm. Also,
is important. Another question I'd have is that has anyone made a claim and pressed a charge that they were coerced in?
Okay, so he's been catfished by people who are much older and claimed that they were much younger, and he would immediately respond by sending pictures of his penis, like just straight away on Discord.
Oh, he's been like Chris Hansen by people.
Oh, a lot of times.
Has he been accused by somebody?
Not yet, and that there's a very good reason for that. For all his filth, he is harmless in the sense that anyone could take him, even a child. They could floor him with incredible ease. All of us here, I'd say everyone in the chat, all of us have nothing to physically fear from him. Plus, he is a shut-in. He lives with his elderly parents, who he's threatened to kill on stream a few times. He talks about fantasizing.
He's a real ass man.
Yeah, he's a real ass man. His dad took his computer away and internet access for 2 years because he screamed at him, "I am a real man!" on stream.
Yeah.
Like,
and so go ahead, please go ahead.
Nick, go on.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say I'm just concerned that no one's tried to call any authorities on him before that he threatened to kill his elderly parents.
Yep, here's the thing. He was swatted really early on by someone who just got the vibe that he was a piece of shit but had no evidence. Since then, they've been very skeptical to show up at his place.
See, that's why you don't cry wolf on people.
Yeah.
And you don't swat, because that's also a really bad thing to do.
A very bad thing. I get the spirit of it, but you had that blew your load too quickly. You reserve that shit. Like, look at Cyrax. He's in a bad position right now, justifiably so. But that came after a long time of him just building his own case against them. Jared might very well still end up in jail, but we're not there yet. And
no one has accused him of
other than the catfishing, no, and the stuff he said about himself, no, and the fact that he's there's evidence aplenty, but it's not motive, is it? It's
nothing he could be charged with, right?
Yeah, it's just him just saying things like, "I want to eat the moon," and what if tomorrow the moon was had a bite in it, like in that episode of The Tick? What would I be? I'd be like, "Oh my god, that wasn't me!" But of course, now you can say, "But yesterday you did say you wanted to take a bite out of the moon." It's.
By the way, kudos to the people who make that cartoon. Every episode after that, they remember to keep that bite missing out of the moon forever after that.
And Chairface's name too. Don't forget that.
The first part of his name, anyways. He didn't get to finish, but
Char.
He kept saying Char after that. Yep.
Yeah.
Good continuity.
I understand. I think if the fact that as you say, there's no current cases pressing against Jared doesn't mean that he's not engaged in that sort of thing. There sadly are people who do abuse people without consent. We know of even a very large religious organization that has a practice of harboring those people and protecting them. So it's quite possible that he has engaged. He just, as you say, hasn't been charged with something to the extent that law enforcement has
no
yet.
I think that he's too stupid to hide it, though. If he were to find what he thought to be of age, to him any age is of age, but if he found somebody who he liked, he would promote it to high heavens, because he has no friends and he has no social life outside of this, and it's really, on other people it would be depressing. On him, I think that we should have never heard of who he is ever as a person. A little anecdote, side thing, by the way. He the Green Power Ranger from the Power Rangers, he set up a dojo up near where he lives. Jared went and challenged him to a fight because Jared thinks that he's super strong, and the guy who played the Green Power Ranger from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. He's like, that's not how that works. You fight my my best student, and then if that's the case, I'll fight you. And Jared was floored in 5 seconds and kicked out on his ass. And since then, he was so happy when the guy died a little while ago. Like,
what a piece of shit.
The only time I've ever seen Jared truly happy, and I know this because Jared has this very infamous, I wouldn't say famous, infamous sort of fake laugh where it's like, huh, 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 huh. This one, it was a genuine smirk like, yeah, you thought you were big, you thought you were tough shit, well, you're dead now, aren't you? I'm like, you don't know what joy is, do you? You don't know what love is. Like, it's just vile. There are billions of people on the planet. There are paragons of like extremes, and Jared, I think, is a great example of somebody who's just all things bad. Maybe when he was born, he could have been taken away and raised, and then it'd be nature versus nurture. I don't know. We're not in that
I was
timeline.
gonna say, I want to know honestly if maybe there was somewhere along the timeline where like, this is not in defense of him at all, but like usually with people like this, someone has taught them to think this way in some way, shape, or form, and I'm just like wondering.
Seem pretty chill. They're like old school
Right? No.
conservatives.
It's not necessarily his parents. I'm just saying that someone in his life at some point must have like taught him this, because if he's really as dumb as we all think he is, then he's probably not really capable of coming to this conclusion on his own in the first place, and I feel like he's been probably influenced by other people or some person or something. It's not in defense of his like way of thinking or actions at all, but usually it's not, he's not the only person is the thing.
Yeah.
Do you think this person's a sociopath?
I don't think he's smart enough to be. I think maybe.
Being a sociopath has nothing to do with your intelligence.
No, it really doesn't. That's I was gonna say, like, he could still
it's a lack of empathy and understanding other people's emotions.
Yeah, right, and he clearly doesn't understand some boundaries here from the way that he's talking. Like, I don't know.
We can expand on it, but Landon, you say what you're gonna say real quick.
I'm gonna say I don't understand. You know, listen to it. I've never heard of this Jared Genesis person. So the questions I'm asking is because I don't know who this person is or the background.
Well, Egghead has made it his quest to go to war with Jared. A lot of other people do too.
Which is a perfectly good thing to go to war with.
Absolutely. Like, if you ever have to raise the banners, be it against a true foe and not just sort of internal bickering, you know. But like this is like the first of many of what he said.
You know, most of the time though, their parents probably wouldn't be cool with that, and that's understandable. But the funny thing is, a lot of parents are so stupid, and they insult their own children, saying, you know,
the only job he ever had.
My kid can't date someone young.
He had a very brief period trying to teach drums to a much younger, like a 17-year-old girl, and all we know is that her parents pulled her out of his tutelage. That's all he'll say on the matter.
Indeed.
Younger because their brain hasn't developed, because basically, you know, it's like saying they're stupid. My kid's stupid.
Table now.
So I don't want them dating someone older because they're just gonna make stupid choices because they're dumb. I mean, what kind of piece of crap parent?
How did he turn into such a robot, or is that just me?
Dude, I would date an 11-year-old. 9-year-old doesn't matter. But I look in the spiritual aspect of it.
It's actually not just you. I hear it too.
Yeah, it's a good effect because I can tell what he's saying, but I don't have to pay attention.
Nice.
It doesn't matter, dude. 99, 8.
Okay, now he's back to normal, unfortunately.
Doesn't matter.
99.
And if you think ill of me for that, that's on you. I really don't give a shit.
I'm illin' for you there, buddy.
So cheers, guys, for being here.
Oh, he drank his own pee on stream once by accident.
46 in the chat.
His room's riddled with bed bugs.
That's interesting.
But wait, there's more.
Towards him being a sociopath, right? Of not really caring or concerned, you know, incapable of empathizing with others and not caring about it. That's
He's
arbitrary.
Raisin says what the consensus is. He pops up everywhere and he creeps them out, and that's good. It shows that the 99% of the world is full of good people. Where, as I'm sure, every once in a while,
and then he's there.
Yeah, like almost like you could argue evil is stronger than good because you only need one Jared to counteract everyone else on the planet. You know, like you only need a handful of Jareds to bring one bad apple spoils the whole bunch. You know.
That's just hilarious. People.
Here we go. That. There's another one.
Yeah, sure. 8-year-olds can consent, sure.
No, they can't.
I would even say perhaps a bit younger.
Remember, if I could, I would put a bounty on this man's head, but I cannot. What a shame.
It is interesting that apologists for a certain religion say that same thing. I'll just point out.
I can think of 3 religions that would let that slide. And probably
encourage it.
Probably a bunch of libertarians too, under the right circumstances. Get them drunk enough.
And that's sort of a condemnation for those religions. But of course, as you mentioned with libertarians, it is what I consider a political malady that people suffer from.
Oh, it's. In
my opinion.
I honestly think one reason why people obsess over like getting someone super young and shit like that, people like this anyway, even if it's like from a different cultural angle, it's that they're safer in that regard because they think they have less baggage and hassle because they're not going to talk back to you as much. They're going to be more like quiet. They're going to be more grateful. They're going to be dumber, so you can manipulate them more. And they're going to make you less scared about getting old yourself. Which, who knows, maybe that is at the root of it, the whole cause of men wanting younger women. That age-old thing that's been going back since, like, Sumeria.
But to some extent, that's also the power dynamic of going after people who are incapable of consenting, so that they're incapable of rejecting.
And it happens, too, in reverse. When women get power, they end up with toy boys. I've been a toy boy at least once. I don't mind because I
Where do I sign up?
It happened in Toronto last time it happened to me. You're nearby. Get yourself a decent salmon shirt, put on a bit of cologne, and book yourself a hotel somewhere. I guarantee you'll wake up next to someone who said you can't remember their second name. It'll take about 48 hours. You'll be fine.
I mean, how do you remember something that nobody ever told you in the first place?
Oh, I was told several times because they thought they had found the one. And I was like, no, that's not why I'm here.
Oh, dear.
Well, there's a reason I've blocked them all on my social platforms since. They did not take the hint. Fun time, though.
You're not supposed to stick it in crazy. You forgot the golden rule.
I was meant to hang out with you and Girly. You failed to show up. I had to improvise.
Oh, wow. Blaming it on Krendar. Wow.
Wow, I know, right? Wow.
Not for the first time or the last time. Now, there's a power dynamic for you.
That's for sure. Big boy.
The zoom in is a nice touch there from Egghead.
If it's consensual, Daniel, you can't tell me it's right or wrong.
Jared, you wouldn't even know what consent is.
Sorry,
you probably
man,
can't even
spell
it.
But wait, there's more.
That's what they do. They try to pin things on you. Like for me, it was pedophile. And I know they have that with Wings too, which by the way, I do agree with his views. I think 12 years old is actually appropriate for age of consent because...
Don't remind me that Wings said that one time.
Doing it. He's right. He's absolutely right about that. I mean, I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but you know what? He had the balls to say it, so I'm going to have the balls to back him up. He's absolutely fucking right.
He's a hero! There'll be statues built in honor of Jared saying that
honestly,
12
dude, I'd rather be with someone with experience.
Time to have sex.
But what he said about the age of consent,
good
I
answer.
do actually fucking agree with.
And would you believe
That's how I feel.
There's still more.
Here it is.
You know, the funny thing is,
hey, babe.
I never really grew up. Like, adults
don't understand me. Even some kids don't understand me. But the funny thing is, I think that it is kids who like me the most.
You should use this in your next edit with splice it in with the I don't care about age.
Send me that clip. Send me that clip, please. Send me the video.
I mean, I like kids. I know I sound like a pedophile, but
you are. You are a horrible person who just. You know what? I wouldn't have any. You know what they say? Like, I'd have more respect if they were more open with it. He is open with it. I'd have more respect if he had any consistency, because he still accuses other people of the thing he is proud of being.
Yeah, no, I have to say I don't respect him being openly wrong. He just sounds like he needs help.
Oh, absolutely. But once again, a religious upbringing results in somebody slipping through the... I wouldn't be surprised if he was homeschooled, honestly. Like, what do you think? Do you think maybe he was homeschooled?
Or he was kicked out of school.
Very possibly.
That's also true.
Oh, yeah.
Expelled? Or...
just walked out one day, never came back?
Well, or expelled. I mean, it could be that essentially he was behaving inappropriately with other students, was warned, did it anyway, and was expelled.
Oh God, Raisin, you might remember this story if she's still in the chat. When we had the big meetup in Philly, I told it. So this was when I was in secondary school. Elf, I think we had just started talking at the time, so you might remember it too. Our gym was its own separate giant building, and one day I had we had just done PE, and all the boys got into the showers to shower, and all the girls got into the showers, and as the boys left, they always would leave long before the girls for numerous reasons. Not the same showers, by the way. Like, obviously on the left you had the boys' showers, on the right you had the girls' showers. I noticed as I left the shower, there was one of the lads from my not my class, but I was in on one or two of the classes, but from my year. He was a short, red-headed guy. He was kind of a jokester, kind of a bit... I'd say now looking back at it, a little bit unhinged. He kind of was very active, very movementy. He would never stay still. He was getting yelled at, not just being talked down to, yelled at by the vice principal and the PE guy. Well, there were three girls, all in their uniforms, also glaring at him. And I didn't think much about it. I just walked by. Turns out what he had done was that when the girls had gone into the shower, I don't know how he found this, there was a partition in the back of the girls' shower that because he was so small, he could sneak in, and he watched them shower and change. And he eventually, he did this about 4 times. Eventually, he got caught out because one of the girls put something in front of one of his little peepholes, and he called out how would you move it? And the girls were like, what the hell? And they all turned around, and he got dragged out, and he didn't see anything wrong with it. Even back then, I remember when I actually talked to him, and he's like, yeah, they caught me peeping. And he was like, what, you peeled it? Yeah, because those doors at the front of the showers were huge into the hall, with these huge wooden things. The smallest, the first years when we first went there, had to put all their effort into it. This fucking kid, there would have been no way he'd have been able to sneak it in.
Too much Porky's is what happened here.
Yeah.
The question I really want to ask is whose actual hiding space did he find here? Because he didn't why that partition exists because somebody put it there. And he just found it.
It is an Irish Catholic school, and the back of the gym had a reputation for girls to have their first something, usually. But at the exact same time, I just remember him, he was so nonplussed. He was expelled. He was 100% expelled right then and there. And like when I talked to him afterwards, he just didn't see what he was doing was wrong. I thought that was so telling. Like even then, like I wasn't even 20 yet, and I was like, yeah, it's fucking wrong. And like people would say, what if they did that to you? And he'd be like, I wouldn't fucking care, let them watch. I say that now as a joke, and knowing full well that every person who'd want to watch me would be over 18 and ideally at least over 25, because fuck dealing with 23-year-olds and under. Fucking hell. You ever have a conversation with a teenager, you want to be thinking like Jared real quick, that's for sure. Yeah. Like, the quickest way to resolve your issue of do you or do you not like jailbait. Have a conversation with an 18-year-old girl. Just go on. See how quickly you want to gouge your own eyes out. You know, like... But yeah, like, Jared, like that guy had no empathy for the girls and had no understanding why the world was turned against him. Jared would see this guy as some sort of king or god. He was an alpha, you know, like it's just Jared. You know, I'm gonna use the Frank Grimes quote. In any other country, he'd have starved to death long ago. Like it's only because his parents have kept him going. And it's tragic, honestly.
It does seem like that. It's tragic, but again, this person does seem like. I mean, everything says that this person is sick, and my only concern is whether or not this person has actually carried out abuse of people.
I think if he did, we wouldn't see him anymore. I think he'd do it like I think he'd literally jump someone in the street and then get pulled off in like 5 seconds by like.
I'm not a criminologist. I imagine there are criminologists that do, but aren't people who do this kind of abuse typically someone who has done it hundreds of times and they finally get caught? I mean, I don't know what
we could find out. He has like a neighbor kid that he plays games with for years, absolutely. But we won't know that until it happens. Until then, we're under the assumption that this does belittle his ability to get what he wants, which is good because what he wants is filth and can never happen. But he is so inept, he's so poor, he's so terrified of the outside world in a lot of respects that he'll never get the opportunity to be around.
I think that people who are abused, sometimes it might be people who are not anxious to go and reveal it.
He clearly is.
And I'm guessing again, somebody who's a criminologist might have a better notion that people who abuse folks frequently do it many times. It's not that they do it and they're 90% chance of being caught. I suspect those that are caught have done things for a long time and it just caught up with them.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. And so it's, as I say, if that's the case.
Did you ever watch
Jared is, again, I'm not claiming, I'm alleging if Jared is somebody who abuses people that fail to consent, it may be that he's able to get away with it many times before someone actually can object and it sticks.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. Maybe he has. This is a terrible analogy, and I mean terrible in the sense of what a horrible situation I've just described. But he could have like a cousin he watches on the weekend who might be a bit slow and wouldn't be able to talk and mention it. You know, like that is how I could imagine he'd get what he wanted. But here's the thing: like, did you ever watch To Catch a Predator when it was out?
I know. I'm familiar with the show.
I wanted to be a decoy on that show.
Did you ever inquire about that, or did you just say you wanted to do it?
No, because when I wanted to, I was like actually a minor, so that would not have been. They would have been like, no.
They'd get college students who always wore like little baseball hats to hide their age.
Yeah, but like I'm only 5 feet tall. I feel like if that show was still going on, like I could. If they didn't hear me talking, they would probably buy it. You know.
You could do it by you could do it very easily these days by one of those predator hunter channels on YouTube. they probably wouldn't pay out as well, and they would their level of quality wouldn't be great. But then again,
wouldn't have the honor of working with Chris Hansen.
Oh yeah, poor you. You wouldn't get to work with Chris Hansen.
Sit down. Can we talk for a minute?
I love Walter's Walter is obsessed with the one episode that the guy is like, so who are you? Are you her dad? No, I'm Chris Hansen, and he just keeps eating the pizza he brought over and over again. Like Walter is obsessed with that episode. But the weird thing is, like, before we move on the topic of all this, of the pedophile stuff, of the people who hunt that. It's the lowest bar, so that means people who are not themselves into that, but are also kind of pieces of shit, manipulative, don't really care at the heart and soul of it, but want like the clout or the networking ability or just the paycheck to go after it. It's the easiest thing to start. Like, anyone will start going after pedophiles. It's the simplest, it's the safest thing to do. And that means there are tons of people, like Onision went after pedophiles, real pedophiles, and they were real pedophiles. But he was also Onision. You know, like he's famous for doing some pretty fucked up things in his own right. And on the same topics, Chris Hansen did the exact same thing, and Chris Hansen's not a great person either.
Well, I say that, you know, those people, for example, that were victims of abuse of Catholic priests, will tell you that, those, the priests who were convicted of stuff were convicted years after they started abusing many people, and that sometimes what happens is,
well, it's a spotlight thing, isn't it?
Gets to the point of coming forward and starts to stick it, then you find a whole bunch of people say, yeah, me too, because sometimes the victims are reluctant to come forward for various reasons. It is also the case that the Catholic Church hierarchy stands condemned, and you could claim that the Catholic Church is one of the largest child abuse organizations in the world.
Oh, there ain't no claim about it. You're talking to an Irish person. It's a matter of fact.
I'm talking about one of the, and that's an example of somebody, and some of those people who have been convicted, you find that they did, for every person they're convicted of, there may be many more, even when they get caught. That's another thing that's a real shame about these abusers. Getting caught doesn't guarantee getting even charged.
Don't forget that the whole Spotlight thing, the movie and the actual real thing that happened, prosecuted 800 priests in Boston alone that were accused and almost certainly had done some pretty horrific things with kids. A lot of them, they themselves were also abused, and as that one scene in the movie kind of ham-fistedly points out, that I was abused, so I can't be an abuser. That's not how that works. In fact, that's normally what happens. It's like the bully that was bullied, you know. But with the Catholic Church, it's a little like all they had to do was shift them around. So a pedophile priest in, say, I don't know, Paris, can end up in Wellington, New Zealand, and then still be a pedophile priest. They were on sabbatical. They went on medical leave. Time and time again, they rotated around. They kind of shuffle people around. But it's very rarely that it's, like, resolved. And that's why I think that the Catholic Church, it isn't just, like, a potential source of, like, pedophile stuff. It's infamously, the main thing in the West. Now you could argue, well, what about you could use whataboutism and point to all these other institutions worldwide, for example, like the role of age in Islamic countries. And yes, that's also terrible, but it doesn't change the fact that the Catholic Church does this. Or, if Bill Portley's in the chat, he knows all too well, the Mormon Church, or a bunch of other, or the Baptists. Like, there's a lot of things going on.
Creates a case where abusers can be protected and actually thrive. Now, one of the problems that can sometimes happen is the vigilantes who go after abusers essentially make it more difficult to bring people to justice.
That's what happened with Jared. You were asking, like, did Jared ever get done? He got swatted by vigilantes who had more passion than sense. They could have built a case against him and took him to their local, his local police authority. Now, wherever he is in Texas, they know about Jared. But what can they get him on that he can't just say, "Oh, I was just talking shit," or "Oh, that was just," if they show like the stuff about him being catfished. "Oh, well, I thought that they were an adult. It was all just for show." Or what he's doing now, which what you asked at the beginning of this, maybe he's just trolling. He's now saying all this stuff that they're looking on screen right now, and we're going to get back to it right now, is him being an edgy troll. Like, which, again, like no one takes it seriously, but in court, you could make that case. But what's he going to do to make that court case? Probably nothing, honestly. Because he's not...
His attorney would be if he was brought to court. But and that's actually one of the things that happens sometimes. In the case of religious institutions where somebody is caught, sometimes the vigilantes create a situation and make it difficult to prosecute. That's where it's probably better.
More likely you're going to get a mistrial, you know?
Yes. And the other thing that the particular Catholic Church was very famous for was literally moving things around, right? And there was, for example, a cardinal, I believe in Australia, who was actually convicted of protecting some really bad stuff like this. But because of the way the prosecution was sort of zealous, they were able to get their conviction thrown out and escaped.
Well, let's keep going because we are on a time, and this is the last sad story. We've been watching a lot of very sad things as of late. We're going to end the nights with a couple of good ones, short ones, fun ones, pretty ones, nice ones, and then we'll get to 3 Drinks Minimum, where hopefully we can put all this depressiveness, like the fact that we live in the same world as Jared Genesis, behind us.
Yay!
God damn it.
Can I point a punt for my good friend Dapper? The Anthers and Genesis people, AIG, who is a bag of dicks, if you know about Dapper Dino stuff. This guy's named Genesis. Hey, Anthers and Genesis,
I've heard of I've heard of Anthers and Genesis.
Anthers
I am a big kid. I'm not saying I want to...
that if you put 5 seconds of something about Ken Hand spouting his nonsense, they would copyright strike you, and you could have get it
Fuck
away.
A kid, but I'm just saying I like kids. I relate to kids.
See, he likes kids. Stephen,
to me, Ben. I'm begging you, send it to me. Please send it. I'm begging you. I want to. I am making a video on this.
I'll always be a...
And
Alright, we'll skip on ahead.
And being a troll. I know a lot of you libtards are pedos yourself. So you find a new troll or learn to code, as the kids say these days. Peace. And of course, there won't be any follow-up on this particular comment. Right?
You never coded.
48 hours later.
I'm a proud pedosexual.
Here it is. Here it is, the whole thing. No, he couldn't even use OBS for the longest time. He couldn't even... Yeah, he's, how to put this? Like, he's kind of... I imagine his mom drank when he was in the womb. You know, like,
and
I don't think he came out
at all. Well, at least you finally admit it. You all assume that
he admitted
just means
it for years, as you said there, Crendar.
Molest kids, and it shows how stupid and ignorant you all truly are. Do you even know?
I will say one thing is nice about Jared, and it's this. It's so nice that we have somebody who's just out there with his evil. Because we don't have to shuffle around. It's the laziest, you're a bad person. Why? Because you literally want to rape children. Well, that's you being ignorant. whatever. You're still bad.
And it is sad, a sad fact that if you went and took a look, for example, in the former United Kingdom's Parliament in Westminster, some fraction of those people standing up to do we got to protect our children by banning games and
banning gays, banning brown people, like stopping teaching sex in school. Like a lot of them will also be.
All this sort of stuff are probably guilty of stuff. They're just clever enough to hide it.
Oh, I was drinking and it was the 70s. She liked it. Look at how she was what she was wearing, you know?
I would say some of those Tory wankers.
Let me educate you. A pedosexual, an adult who is sexually active with children. It wouldn't surprise me if you have fantasies about that. Oh wait, you do. I was born this way and cannot help who I am. No. Fucking no. Don't you fucking dare sit there.
Egg is so expressive.
You were born that way. Okay? People in the LGBTQIA
he moves like Doug Walker or
are
like a Tex Avery character. Like I imagine sometimes when he'd see Ryby in like skimpy outfits, he would literally do the wooga woo. He'd stamp his foot on the ground.
Ears.
What?
That was very painful to the ears. Please don't scream like that again.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Anyway,
indeed.
Yes.
So thank you for educating me on this icky person.
Yeah. He's a bad guy. Let's move on.
I hope if he's actually abused people who were failed to consent, that he'd get brought to justice.
Yeah. If there's a line that's crossed,
legal.
Look at this magic.
For 40 years, I've been fighting a seed pod inside of red peppers. I could have been doing this. Ain't no way. All right.
Ain't no way.
I just push the center.
No.
Break it open.
Be a wonderful day.
So it depends upon, as somebody who grows red peppers, it depends on how ripe it is, how and how well developed the seeds are. Also, if you get, it probably would be easier if you got a reasonably ripe bell pepper versus something where they shipped it green to a store and it's sort of, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I doubt every pepper.
I would agree.
Planet. Yeah, I doubt every pepper.
No, but having also grown peppers, I would agree that it would definitely depend on the ripeness of the pepper, and if you got one that was not ripe enough, it wouldn't work, and so on and so forth.
Worth a try, though.
Some varieties of peppers might be better than others at that too.
Yeah.
But for the record, Elf, how long from planting to harvest did it take you?
Like 6 months, something like that. I can't remember exactly, but
usually that you put the seedlings in a sort of a warm house to get them started, so you can plant them in the spring and have them available in early summer.
Right. Yeah. I just it's been a couple of years since I actually had my garden, and I can't remember specifically how long it took me to do it, but yeah, that's about the size of it. You have to start them out with seedlings, and then you grow them into pepper plants, but yeah, it takes a few months to get them to be like full sized.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask, none of yous have heard of Pinky Doll, the woman on screen?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. I saw on I was watching Vosh, and he had no idea either, but she was doing the rounds and he was very confused. The best I can describe is that I guess it's like a fetish, but like it's, well, you be the judge.
Yes, popcorn. Yes, popcorn. Yes, popcorn. Yes, popcorn. Grab.
Is she
Slay. Grab. Grab.
Can somebody
Yes,
send
popcorn.
her
Yes, popcorn. Yes, popcorn.
Yeah, she's incredibly popular on TikTok.
Why?
Is she like pretending to be an NPC?
I've heard some people say that.
Kind
I
of.
think she's responding to every emote. Oh, she's using her hair straightener to pop individual kernels of popcorn. See? I'm not listening to that again. Yes, popcorn. Yes.
I would guess again. I would call this performance art of somebody.
Speaking
who,
also of fake laughs.
In the acapella type of thing, where those groups that do entirely vocal based stuff that you think are instrumental.
Yeah.
Probably
woo, 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 woo. It's like a whole orchestra of just like trying to make sound effects. Are she okay? The things we do for money. She's like, I don't know what to describe her as other than
Also, popping individual kernels with a hair straightener doesn't actually work. I watched somebody debunk that.
Why would you even want to, even if it did work? Just to get the strays that didn't pop in the bag, I guess? I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, no, that doesn't actually work anyway. So the kernel in the straightener is just for looks too.
Fuck? Oh, it's a filter.
Yeah, filter.
Hideous.
Yeah. Where's the audio? Oh.
No, don't want it.
We got it. Now we're gonna know because that's some copyrightable music. Pinky the Mermaid. Okay. Oh, do you know who she reminds me of? Do you remember Poppy from a few years ago? I'm Poppy. Nope. I'm Poppy. I'm Poppy. Poppy.
Nope.
Evan Lefevre was obsessed with her. He claimed that she was his daughter. She actually had like a live tour around America. It was this surreal. She was like meant to be an AI bot that had become like self-aware, and she was just very odd and like it's just. I don't know what. Like, I don't know what the appeal is, especially because every time I look at it, it's only rarely does she go absolutely crazy.
I love the fact that you said that while this woman's on screen, and I completely agree with that as well.
Like I don't know what's going on. I don't know what this is. This is what the kids are into. Country music fan, okay. Rude to servers, yes, I stand by that one. And clingy, yeah, all right, okay, that's fair. I support 2 out of 3 of those. The last one, you can enjoy country music sometimes. Not my thing, but you know.
I don't understand country music, so I'm not a.
Oh, so you
judge.
Huh?
I'm not a huge fan of it either, but I don't think I would call that like a red flag necessarily. It depends how into the country music you are, I think.
Also, it depends on what kind. Like, if we're talking like country western music, like gunslinger movie music, fuck yes.
Yeah,
oh yeah, actually, I love the background music in westerns.
Stuff. Yeah.
I won't disrespect.
Keep your heart out of here, though.
Because I don't understand the genre, so that's
That's fair.
I have no idea on this principle of her, other than I've seen another one where she just says the word yes, 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 yes. And when I watched it with in chat, I swear to Christ, in Voss's chat, somebody asked, "Is this Kevin Joseph King's sister?" And I'm like, well, more of her.
That would explain a lot.
Yeah, maybe.
Y'all see? Y'all see?
Y'all see?
What else you got?
Yeah.
Y'all see this? Y'all see this single popcorn kernel? Y'all see it?
All right. I kind of vaguely remember what this one is. Yeah. Bum bum bum. Bum 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 bum. When did hatchet throwing become like a pastime for guys with more money than sense?
I don't know, but I want in.
I have to admit,
this looks fun.
For example, there was a lot of well-documented, for example, camps during the gold rush in California, where axe throwing and axe skill throwing was a both entertainment, and people who do it well became more wealthy than those that tried to find gold. It's so we know it's been around for at least 150 years.
Oh, it's been around for centuries. Yep. The thing is that like it became like this sort of chud thing after a while, and this is where I saw it for the first time. Where Jason Momoa,
thank you very much.
In his man cave.
I like beer and throwing tomahawk.
He drinks beer and throws.
Yeah. I'll agree, but you can keep the beer.
What?
Look, it's Bringar, son of Russ.
I don't know what, but I'm looking at him and all I'm thinking is Goldbrand. Here's the thing from it. Here's the volcano. It's kind of important, seeing that we have a literal volcano expert on with us. We should maybe.
Yeah. So this is an area of on the Reykjavik Peninsula that has had a numerous series of earthquakes due to magma moving, and then the pressure, because that magma rose closer to the surface, pressure lowered, liquid gases under pressure became vapor, cracked the edge, and you get this long fountain sheet. Eventually, what's going to happen after it releases a lot of pressure is it's going to favor one or a couple spots, and those will turn into a cone that will essentially allow the rest of the magma to outgas and to stop. But right now, it's in that really nice, beautiful, long current. Again, magma, liquid rock, wants to sink. The reason why it goes up is because you have gases under pressure that are liquid. As you go up, the pressure drops. When the pressure drops, those things that are liquid become vapor. Those bubbles essentially pop. In fact, you get the earthquake starting because the pressure of the bubbles from liquid going to gas pushing against the rocks made to crack it. It finds a break and then erupts out that side. As the pressure, as essentially the gases become escape, it'll stop the long chain and start to favor a couple of the more obvious vents that open up, usually coming down to one vent where you get
You can see one where Earth made earlier, back in the background there.
Now, one of the difficulties with Iceland is Iceland's volcanoes tend to be cranky. By cranky meaning they're explosive, and or when they get under glaciers, because there's a lot of ice in Iceland, those get to be really bad situations. So I tend not to like to go near cranky volcanoes. On the other hand, Kilauea in Hawaii, that's a prime example of a volcano that's almost always non-cranky. So that's to watch from afar, these sort of things. And if you want to see a volcano up close that doesn't endanger your life, head to the Volcano National Park in Hawaii.
I saw huge amounts of people by this one, all like with their phones out, taking snapshots and such. That's not very safe, is it?
I mean, it depends on where. And again, this Reykjavik Peninsula area has been relatively benign in terms of Icelandic volcanoes. Again, they tend to be very cranky, very dangerous. This is probably something where you could be near it if you knew what you were doing.
Okay.
But again, that's if you know what you're doing. The biggest problem getting too close is being pinched off, where you get flows you don't realize.
They're behind you, and then you're trapped off.
Yeah.
I'd be too self-conscious of that, or at any moment that underneath my feet, like a new fissure would crack up, and I wouldn't be anywhere near that. I wouldn't. I'd feel scared.
Generally, in this thing, because it's now cracked the spine, and gas is releasing from it, it's going to then typically move to only a couple of fissures, and then to a single spot, build a cone, and then stop as basically the pressure equalizes.
It's been fascinating watching this spot particular Like just watching how it's been flowing out. Because it's just like a river, you know. It's gonna eventually.
And you see, if you'd been up in the other section, you'd be in danger now of being trapped because all it takes is another chain on one side, right? So again, leave it to people who know how to photograph and how to approach things carefully.
This is where drones come in great handy, you know. Like they're much better than a helicopter, which has to be piloted by a person, you know.
Your daily dose of internet. The suspect was running away from the police when a random guy decided to help out.
What?
Nice.
The trip actually worked and allowed the police to catch up and make an arrest.
Ooh.
Careful,
Kitty.
kids. Really careful. Not yet.
No!
This guy tried to rob a store, but nobody really cared.
Everybody get down! Give me all your money! Give me all your money!
They're like, what the fuck, man?
Everybody give me everything!
He didn't even have any weapons to threaten people with. It was just his hand in a bag.
Is it possible that some of the people in that store don't understand what he was saying?
It's possible.
And I don't mean that they maybe don't understand English, but perhaps his accent and their comprehension was like.
I think the shock value is what he was going for. It's like at any moment now something like really crazy happens. You're like, what the hell? You know, like it put you on edge. But in this, like they almost certainly knew what the hell he was doing, and they were like, nope. They were just there like, what are you gonna do? Pull your gun out of your bag? Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna change that dynamic? Oh, there is no gun in there, is there? You're talking out of your ass, isn't there? Like, go away. Like it's kind of embarrassing, especially because he didn't cover his face. Like his face is just.
He didn't even have any weapons.
This guy's an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah. This is that joke from Snatch where they come in a bunch of like stockings that are so transparent you can see their face when they're robbing the bookies.
Yep.
It's interesting that somebody basically leaves the store and just says excuse. I almost say excuse me as they're basically finished.
Well, what do I got to do now, right? Like they
didn't even totally leave. That's still them in front of the store. They're just like outside. Like what's happening?
This was not what rehearsal went as. I'm confused.
She stepped outside to call her friend and was like, "You wouldn't believe what the fuck just happened."
Woo!
And redo that one.
Oh, a little puppy went flying. Oh, my bad. Boop. Wap wap! No! Don't abuse your child like that. They love you.
This little guy is upset that he wasn't born Mexican.
Why do you want to be Mexican? Huh?
It's true, they do. They're also all given a giant sombrero 4 times bigger than them at birth.
He doesn't understand when he says, "I want to be Mexican." I think what he was probably trying to say is, "I want to eat Mexican because he wanted a quesadilla."
He could have wanted both.
He's not wrong. I require more tacos personally at all times.
I want many types of burritos.
That too.
I also really love Mexican food. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can we all just agree that burritos are basically really big tacos?
Hello, everyone.
I mean, yeah, basically.
I certainly like the for example a lot of Mexican cuisine has a very rich set of fish dishes, right? There's lots of Mexico that's along the coast, and they have I'm not talking about the Tex-Mex stuff that you see.
No, that doesn't count.
Out there, but there's a lot of very refined Mexican cuisine that's amazing seafood.
Well, don't forget, Landon, that we have the Spanish and Portuguese restaurants sold over here in the UK and Ireland, and they're all basically like seafood, all of it, like fish and shellfish, and it's lovely.
When I was on vacation last month, back out in BC, I had a salmon burrito. It was quite
I don't
nice.
get to enjoy a lot of good seafood because I live in a landlocked state. So I get
And yet every
okay
time
seafood
I go there, I
sometimes.
always eat fish. Like it's weird.
That's up to you, man. You're the one choosing to eat fish in Nebraska.
You're the one that tells me not to go to this sushi place because there's 5 more sushi places that are better.
yeah, we have a lot of sushi places, despite being a landlocked state.
Right.
So it's possible that this kid basically hears his
Or
parents
because of.
say, "Let's go eat Mexican. Let's go to a Mexican restaurant." And so he says, "I want Mexican food." Probably what he's saying.
Yeah, it's possible. Or maybe he really is transracial and he thinks that he's born in a different.
You think? Is this Nukazusa's son?
Because you eat queso.
He's not white enough.
Yeah.
Adoptive, obviously.
Oh wow! I thought that was a bit of garlic.
What's that goop on the floor?
Don't worry, the little guy was
It's
okay.
dead.
What up, bud?
The goop is probably from other eggs hatching.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's an opossum.
Oh, it will be taking
Opossum.
Someone accidentally launched a firework
Possum
right at his
butthole.
plane.
Oh no! During 4th of July. You can see all the other fire. Oh no! That's anti-aircraft fire right there. That's fucking chaff.
Pretty much. Had to be exciting though, huh?
This is what a regular boring takeoff looks like for a commercial plane.
Yep.
It's fun from the
This is what
inside
it
though.
looks like when it's pushed to the limits.
Giggity.
You'll sometimes do extreme vertical takeoffs to test the
Yes.
safety of the plane.
Or if there's a lot of wind shear, they often do this because you have to get past the wind current as quickly as possible. So rather than fighting it, they just kind of like, right, as limited as much, go, 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 go. And it's terrifying. I've been on flights like that. You just suddenly find yourself up. The best way to describe it is everything is up. No!
I just
Bad
wanted
kitty.
to see if you knew any kids around like 11 or 12 maybe,
Aw.
because I need some friends, like
Aw.
really bad.
Fair play,
The house
mate.
to your right, there's 2 kids that live there.
They're not my friends anymore because they're bullies to me.
Aw.
So this video exploded on social.
I respect him for knowing the issue and trying to resolve it.
media,
Yeah,
and the
good
internet
for
did
him.
their thing and raised almost $40,000 in 3 days. The internet also managed to
I'd
find
be
some
his
friends to hang
friend
out with him.
for a weekend, not when I'm drunk. That'd be weird.
I guess some criminals are worse than others. A burglar broke into this person's home to steal something. On his way out, he noticed that the dog left the house, so he made sure the dog came back in before he left.
See, he has his face being covered. The other guy didn't.
Archaeologists in Italy just found what could be the oldest reference ever to pizza.
I posted this in cooking.
Ooh.
Max Miller from Tasting History recreated it as best he could. A lot of people are wondering about the particulars of the,
How did he like
the toppings. Go on.
You said he recreated it. How did he like it?
He said
Flatbread with stuff on it is an old thing, and so
it begins with P, doesn't it? It's like paleta or whatever.
it does look like, again, it might be stylized, that dough is actually quite thick from usual Roman/Italian.
Yeah, but he made sure it wasn't too bad. He said it was very filling and it will get him very fat because he's going to eat the whole thing. But it is not pizza as we know it, or even as it's prepared in the more, like, say, the Greek pizzas or like the pizzas in Napoli and stuff like that. But it is its own thing.
Oven-based salad. Yeah, more.
Yeah, it's its own thing. And it's quite delicious. Apparently, what they did was the bread was really thick, so you kind of pick a lot of the things off it. Like there was a half a pomegranate on it when he made it, and you just pick that off, and it leaves like the flavor until eventually you got enough off it that you just take a big old bite to slice it.
one thing you should understand is that this is an era that's pre-potato, pre-tomato. So you would
Yeah, I
not
was going to
have
say, there was no tomatoes and there was no potatoes, and there was a lot of
it would have been
spices we
more
wouldn't have had.
lentils and veggies that are
And
there.
even the
So
cheese would have been very different as well. Like, they wouldn't have used the same sort of cheeses we take for granted. So much of our food we take for granted. Like, that's one thing I think if you put someone from the past into the future, the amount of food we have is just insane.
So the Roman cuisine was a very different cuisine than early Italian. Right? It's the introduction of some of the things from the New World, like the tomato. But they had also uphill climb because there was a time where people thought that the redness of tomatoes and it was poisonous. You actually
it is a relative of nightshade, so they're not.
And yet Catholic priests preaching sermons saying that beware of the evil of tomato.
They said that about coffee too.
There's no way to know for sure, but they found this painting that was made over 2,000 years ago of what appears to be a pizza-like food. Here's an amazing view of what fireworks look like from a plane.
Really cool.
Ooh.
That or else Dresden is burning.
We flew into
a photographer.
We flew into actually Lima, Peru, on the way to Punta Arenas, Chile, on the way to the South Pole. And we flew in when they were doing the New Year's fireworks.
And it looked like
and
that.
It was, like that. Yeah, well, a lot of things. It was a lot of stuff was there was less cloud cover, so we actually saw the starburst there. But in places in the world, the fireworks are done on New Year's.
We do that. When I was in for Halloween, we got a huge amount of fireworks. And one year, I was with a friend from my college, and we went to the top of Hoth Head. It was pitch cold dark. I was in a suit. He was in a pirate's outfit. We were drunk, and I had taken shrooms. We had cut through a golf course to get to the peak of it. And once we got to the top, you could turn back, and you're looking at Dublin Bay from the north, so we could see all of Dublin. And that was the last year Dublin City Council paid for the Halloween festivities. So they had this very simple but very interesting looking fireworks display going across across the Liffey. So it was basically all these fireworks going off one by one, but it was all silent because of course it was too far away, we could hear it. But along that, you had all the council estates, all the housing estates, and they were all firing off their own fireworks, and it was just this surreal thing. And on top of that, Hoth Head is where Dublin Airport redirects its traffic. So we looked up, and we saw all the planes from all across the world circling around us, and at that time of night, you can see the lights over in Wales across the Irish Sea. Just these little flicks from places like Holyhead and things like that. And it was just this surreal, one of the most surreal moments of my life. But even now, thinking back of it, I think I was dying of hypothermia. So I was very cold. That's the main thing I remember. It was so pretty looking, but it was so cold.
Pardon, I just want to ask, will we be taking our short break sometime soon, or?
Okay. We can move on to ordinary sausage and then to our dancing lad.
I'll mention around here, fireworks season is between Canada Day and U.S. Independence Day, and so Canada Day is on July 1st, and Canada is just right over there. So we start to see the fireworks on the Canada side, and the Americans set off fireworks in nice sympathy because we're nice and friendly with each other. And then we do the 4th of July stuff on this side, and they also send off stuff to be in sympathy. So it's sort of a fireworks season for here around here. And
I feel sorry for any dog owners where you live, Christ.
This last year, on the 4th of July, I counted 22 different fireworks displays going on. They tend to be late at night because we're so far. We're at 49th parallel, so we're far north. Then, but it is quite a big fireworks season for around here with Canada Day to U.S. Independence.
Alright, so I guess because the whole grand total of thing will be 3 minutes, let's do the deep fried kiwi and the corn sausage. And then we can get to our flamboyant man of mystery.
I don't get it. These videos require the least amount of work and they get tons of views. You know what the results are going to be. 15-minute kiwi, 30-minute kiwi, 1 hour kiwi.
Rip the 1 hour kiwi.
Yeah.
Hold your horses. Too hot. It's too hot.
No.
I'm in the comments too. Everyone else is just as confused about this as I am. This guy's a squirter. 15
No.
30-minute kiwi. That's 1 hour.
That's a potato, that is. They all look like potatoes.
Right out of there. And then we give it a taste. It's extremely sour. 30-minute. This one's a little bit mushier. It's just as sour. And finally, the 1 hour.
They actually look like Tenerife potatoes.
That looks bad.
That seems to be a trend on the inside of these 1 hour ones. They get that weird, like, falling apart look.
It's hot, it's sour, none of them are good. I'll give all 3 of these kiwis a 1 out of 5.
Bop, 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 bop. Ew.
If I were frying kiwis again, I wouldn't do 15-minute, because again, the size of it. Think about like an egg, right? If you're hard boiling an egg, you wouldn't
maybe 5 minutes
at 5 minutes, and that you know, the oil is putting in elevates the temperature quite high. You're not just boiling it; you're actually frying it. So be like the same thing if you took kiwi and put it in an oven at like 300 Celsius, right? You're gonna get carbonized stuff. So duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the outside definitely got carbonized.
Ordinary sausage just likes making food abominations.
I don't know if he likes it, but he likes the traction he gets.
It's definitely his shtick.
He does it an awful lot for not liking it.
The whole
Right?
layer of corn's going in. Money!
Let's be honest, he pretends to not like it. He actually loves it.
Oh, it's drippy.
An entire corn cob.
Diggity.
Actual Jake is losing his mind.
I'm gonna call that one a victory for the grinder.
Why?
Because he's all about the corn.
There's nothing left in there.
So in a good way, you meant.
It's pretty juicy. There's a lot of corn juice in here. Cobanol. That's a good last name. Hello, my name is Dr. Jeremy Cobanol. Straight up, don't tell
Cobanol.
me, do you really
To
want
the
a
front desk,
sausage
please, Dr. Cobanol.
Just the cob.
I gotta be honest here. The smell of that raw corn mush is really getting to me.
Corn.
Oh, that's the corn water.
Oh.
This one's right up there with some of the dumbest sausages that we've ever done. In 3, 2, 1, let's sausage, I guess. Looks like a crime scene already. Oh. All the juice is going to the back of the sausage.
No.
This is basically just cream corn.
This has been a disaster. With special thanks to today's Mark Boxalo box artist.
Will it blow? Breath of the pig.
I just want to call it now that it's 100% gonna split when he starts cooking it. It is 100% just. Oh.
That's.
Oh.
Well, it blew.
Will it blow?
It's gonna split like immediately.
Let's go.
Has anything before this ever gotten a 5 out of 5 on the Mark Ruffalo
Oh
scale?
yeah, but for the same reason. Explosion.
Well, all right, let's open it up and
It
see
didn't
how
split.
it
Shocked.
Wow.
looks
Me too.
like hot corn mush. Here we go.
Ew.
It is hot corn
It
mush.
tastes like hot corn mush with bits of hard to
Ooh.
chew.
Because it is.
1 out of 5.
Ew.
Bop, 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 bop.
The cob,
That corn died of you for you.
Now, from a
Gross.
cooking standpoint, by the way, when I make a chowder with corn, one of the things
Chowder.
I do is put the cobs in with the, let's say your potatoes you're boiling. You strip off the corn to put it aside, and you put the cobs in with the potatoes. And they add there's a lot of corn flavor that comes from the cob that's not in the kernels.
So I feel like it's similar to making bone broth.
Yes, and very, very much so. And the other thing, of course, is that you can accelerate that by cooking your corn in a microwave. Don't peel off the husk, right? Leave it in the corn husk there, and microwave it for about 2 to 3 minutes. It'll actually cook the corn kernels. It makes it very easy then to shuck the corn because all the stuff peels off, and you scrape off the corn to set aside for your corn stuff, and you take the cob, cut it in a couple sections, and put the cob, not minus the outer leaf part, in with your boiling potatoes to give it a really rich corn flavor, because there's actually a lot of, even though you can't chew it, there's a lot of corn flavor that gets boiled out from the cob. Microwave your corn, ear of corn, fresh, and for 2 to 3 minutes is actually a really good way rather than boiling them.
You know there, Kren, here you go. This is what it looks like. This is how he made it. That's what it looks like on the picture, and that's his. And he just
at first,
that
you know,
actually
take
looks
a
delicious.
date or
I would eat that.
pomegranate or whatever, and
it looks
eaten it,
pretty
and
promising.
then finish the bread and dipped it with.
It's a great video. I posted open
but
cooking.
I did a little
Is that-
slice just cause.
What's the brown slices? Is that some sort of meat or?
It looks like mushroom. It looks
mushroom?
like mushrooms.
I think it is mushrooms. Yeah. He says that like the recipe calls for roux, but you don't need to do roux. You can use like is it lettuce or celery? Makes the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Early writings about
also lots of garlic in this, like extremely garlic, to the point where it becomes like almost like a spice. He's put so much in it.
I would probably calm down the garlic, but otherwise
well,
looks nice.
That's what the recipe says, and of course, he actually has his own bottle of garum, and yeah, he made his own bottle of garum. And if you don't know what garum is, we can check that out in the next stream, because that's a hell of a thing, and it's still being made under a different name these days in Sicily. But that's a conversation for another time.
But the early ratings of sort of modern Italian pizza, in early days, the pizza, the bread was seen as a plate.
That's what a trencher is. You just like carve out the inner of like a loaf of bread, and then you'd fill it up with like stew, and then you'd eat the whole thing.
You eat off a thing, and then in fact you might take that bread and use it for several meals to cook things on. And then eventually that bread becomes a
stale bread wasn't thrown away. It became it became a utensil, basically.
Yes.
Which you have to admit, it's a lot better than what we do with stale bread. If it doesn't have mold on it, we just it's slightly hard. Oh well, we'll throw it out.
Whenever I get the shotgun.
My Buff Corral vote is for Cult of Personality because it's the only song on there of the ones that you haven't watched yet that I know.
Same,
well,
honestly.
Before we decide that, let's scroll down to the ones we've been saving. And remind ourselves what those are as well.
Well, there's Purple Rain.
We've also got Come On Eileen and Purple Rain that we've been sitting on.
Okay, I need to pee. I'm gonna hear you guys as I'm peeing because my headphones are on. Don't worry, we're not have a Chris John situation where you'll be able to
just go.
Stuff.
It's all good. Go.
I'm going. You better have a.
No, you're not. You're sitting here talking. Go.
No, I'm currently at the front of my bathroom door. Aha.
Out of the options presented now, that's really tough because I actually really love Come On Eileen just on its own as a song, but I also love Prince.
Yeah, I once heard a cover. I don't know who did it, but I heard a cover of Come On Eileen being sung by women. It was even better than the original.
That sounds like it would be really, really fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've always liked that song though.
It's very catchy. It's too bad the band didn't go anywhere because that was such a banger.
It's definitely it was definitely kind of one of those one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
But
much like Purple Rain was.
Yeah, no.
Nobody's ever heard of Prince.
Well, okay, but nobody's ever heard of Prince. What? Man, I don't know though. I don't know which one to pick.
Strong options for sure.
I know. I have dice available. Should I roll a die?
Yeah.
I was also tempted to ask Landon, but he's apparently decided to do a left break as well.
I think he also had to leave for the same reason.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
So we're choosing between 3 options, right?
No, I think let's be honest here. It's 2 options. It's between purple.
I think these 2 options are a little stronger.
And Come On, Eileen.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's between those. Okay, so
all right, do a die roll, but then we'll let Landon vote when he gets back too. But the die roll can be our backup tiebreaker if necessary.
Okay, I say
odds, Prince, evens, Dexies.
No, I have D&D dice. It's percentages, silly.
I'll get some real dice.
You still have odds and evens.
No, just high or low for one of them.
Whatever.
Okay, so like.
Well, Prince is clearly high, so high for Purple Rain.
Okay, high for Purple Rain, low for Come On, Eileen.
Sure.
Wow, that is 100 straight up. So that's the dice vote for Purple Rain.
A lot of people in chat are voting for Come On, Eileen, though.
I mean.
And by a lot of people, I mean Gage.
The dice are just.
Oh no, and Blue and Billy Boy Blue. Okay.
2 is the
All right.
All right. We'll see what Landon says when he comes back. So.
Yeah.
I just want to say to all of you, after this, we are going to take about a 10-minute break, and then we will get started with 3 Drinks Minimum. It'll be more or less like this. Krenda, are you going to be joining us, or are you going to say goodbye, or what?
I'll have to duck out, actually, because a bit low on energy and very hungry for a meal. So.
Then enjoy yourself, good
I'll be here.
If you guys want to help out the stream, and in particular Krendar, if you want to throw some donos, Krendar will be more than happy to take his established cut. Now, Landon, we have ourselves a bit of a conundrum, though it seems to be heavily skewered towards one thing. Do you want Dixie's Midnight Runners, Come On Eileen, or Prince's Purple Rain?
I will go with Purple Rain for the following reason, because of my experience in one of Prince's parties. He threw for some astronomers.
Of course, you've met Prince.
We gave him a really nice astronomy observatory session. And this is around the time where he was having fights with essentially the record label, and decided that essentially he didn't want to be Prince anymore, because they essentially the record label owned the name Prince, even though he was Prince. And so he did this "I'm not Prince anymore" sort of thing.
I am the artist formerly known as Prince.
And the party he threw, he said, "I'm going to do everything that I've never written, right? I'm going to do other people's songs." Basically, he did about 3 hours of covers of just things where people would you name something and he would do it, right? Was the sort of thing. His ability, because obviously people were naming things he knew. His ability to pull it off with improv but skill was astounding. So you just name something and you just like da 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 da, and would do a Prince version.
The body is round.
Oh no!
Right.
Sorry.
Come on, Eileen.
We just got. We're now going to be showing you how much whores we are. We just got $10 from Billy Boy Blue saying, "Come on, Eileen."
Well, there you go.
Yeah. No, you know what?
Well, to be fair, people in chat had already been voting that anyways, so it was winning in any case.
Well, no, actually, it wasn't, because it's almost like we're the aristocrats and they're the working class peasants, because we're saying like, yeah, we want kind of Prince, we want Purple Rain, but they're like, no.
Why do they sound like orcs?
Why the hell do you think? The unwashed pleb masses, and I'm here sniffing my scented handkerchief going, "Oh, you wouldn't understand art if it fucking killed your entire family due to poison." Speaking of, don't drink the water tonight.
Dixie is a common addiction, but Prince's skill and virtuosity, because he was doing drums, he was doing electric car. He was doing sense.
You don't need to sell anyone on Prince if they've heard 5 seconds of the man. We know.
The sad thing is he didn't want to do internet stuff, and so
I'm just jealous that you went to one of his parties.
I'm not shocked he went to one of his parties.
Are not recorded because he would just do stuff live, and so so in the spirit of that, somebody doing a cover would be very much Prince actually liked people doing his own.
All right, I know how to fix this. Krendar, unfortunately, is the only one who's going to have to suffer. So we will listen to Dixie's right now, and then 10 minutes later we will start our stream by listening to Purple.
That's a good solution. Actually,
everyone is
fair
happy.
Compromise.
Yeah, everyone will be happy because something tells me Billy will be here for both streams because we won't be gone for that long. So yeah. Now, if one thing I want to point out is if you go into our descriptions, I'll admit I did not put links down there. That's because Elf, you don't really have anything right now to promote, do you? I mean, you got your
no,
your
not really
Twitter,
anything in particular though.
And Landon,
I don't post on my Twitter.
You have an auto thing, I'm assuming, because you.
I have essentially people I promote as well. So
then that's what I will correct after probably tomorrow when I'm sober. So what he remind me to go and do that.
I do have a YouTube channel, but I haven't put stuff up yet because I've been more promoting other people's channels.
That's fair. Then when we're done, send me a link to the channel of your choice, and I will edit this after it's uploaded. I'm also waiting for some reason I'm thinking tonight is going to be the dreaded copyright strike or something like that. Oh, speaking of Miss Ukulele, I did nothing wrong. Claims that if you've ever shown anything that she her apology video, it's now an IP, so she can copyright claim it. And
I think we need to encourage this internet beef. Our first YouTube beef.
Yeah, it can't just be Ethan. It can't just be the Drunken Peasants. It can't just be the Geek Room or Pedantic Pedestrians or anyone else. It's her and us. And I just have one thing to say to it: bring it, you fucking frog-mouthed freak. We'll take you to court and win too. Patent pending.
Bring it on, ukulele.
Ukulele. Ah.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, she also likes the company of young people. Anyway, let's go. Boop, 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 boop.
It's your boy Buff Pro, baby. Back him up at the levels. Back in touch. Friends, your boy Buff Ruru 122 back on the up and up, bump.
Oh, and if you don't,
is my imagination or are the eyebrows getting bigger?
I was actually more thinking about, does he have like scabs on his back? But it was just shadows. Just something real quick. Next week, I believe we have. I got the list right here. I should advertise our show on our show. Oh, great! Dirt and Magicus will be joining us. That'll be fun. So there we go.
Anyway, today we're gonna do Dixie Midnight Runners. Come on, Eileen on the ones and twos. Your boy Buff Crub back on the upper dead level, back in the back.
He's definitely got some sort of bruise on his left arm there.
Tell the guys got fun.
Is that a wheelchair next to him? What's that wheel there?
Probably a bike. Although it does look like it's got the wheelchair rim thing on it.
Mm.
So maybe.
Numbers. King. He's expanding his genes.
Is he holding up his pants so they don't fall off while he's dancing?
It does legitimately look like that, yeah. They look loose.
Using his incredibly long dick as a whip.
They call him the lead whip for a reason.
Oh, Johnny
We made a good choice today.
You've grown so grown. Now I must say more than ever.
He's hitting all the wrong places and I'm here for it.
I think we may have achieved a new low/high today.
I am the right level of drunk for this.
And Elf has just been completely horrified all the way through.
What were you expecting? It's buff.
No, I'm laughing. It's just muted.
It's everything we hoped for.
It's wonderful. This is exactly what I thought.
Arm movements.
It's probably how he bruised his elbow.
Yeah.
This is take 8.
Oh my god, that was.
No, not us. We are far too young and clever.
When ready to mate, the walrus lets out a long cry.
You know, this has the same logic as like if you talk louder, it makes you sound smarter. If you sing louder, you hope it'll be more in tune. It's not working, but I'm thinking that's what's happening here.
I think you're giving him too much credit. He's just going for it. I don't think there's any thought process here.
I honestly think he has a script, like for the lyrics, and all of them are in caps, so he assumes that they're all going to be shouted.
Okay, alright.
Maybe. In his mind, he's killing it, like always.
He wouldn't get why we laugh so much. He wouldn't understand.
Now that you've shown, give a damn whether it's good or not. He's learned a level of success, and that's his shtick, and people
love him for it. Like, we get it immediately. Whether or not he does,
performance, he does it his way, and he doesn't care whether people mock him or stuff, as long as they.
He is living the best Corel life, and all of us should be in awe and take notes. Because
I was gonna say either that or he is like completely like oblivious to anyone's derision.
Yeah.
That's the only other alternative I could see.
Why not both?
Right?
.jpg.
Yeah.
And mentioning that party, Print also encouraged other people who were astronomers who were not very musically gifted to do his songs. And they were probably this bad, amateurs, but he loved it because it was somebody doing their own thing, right?
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
Obviously, there's orders of magnitude in quality and skill between it, but he sort of enjoyed people putting their own lack of talent spin on something.
I could see that. Yeah. If I was like a well-known like manga artist or something, and somebody sent me fan art of one of my characters and it was terrible, I would still be flattered that they sent me fan art of my character, you know?
Yeah.
I can totally see that.
I've received even before this, back on a DeviantArt, I would sometimes receive art inspired by what I would do, and it would vary in quality from fucking awesome to but still like I was happy that they did it, and then like I like it because no matter what, it was always unique.
I remember some of that art.
Some of it hell, you have a copy of the guy from Philippines who would do some of my artwork. That was That was
I still have some of that. Yeah, I do still have some of that you sent me, like a literal printed picture of a piece of art of one of your characters. I have that in a folder somewhere.
That was great use of shading and color, but
Mhm.
yeah, like at the end of the day, like if you're going to alter it, that's all well and good. The reason like we love Buff is because I think at the core of it, Buff is just so happy to do what he does. No one asked him to do, and he doesn't make next to any real money off this. He has like his own merch brand, but it's like the most generic things ever, like a black t-shirt with like a JPEG of that image behind him there on like a very small segment of a t-shirt. It's very cheap, it's very basic, and it probably sells like hotcakes.
I would buy that shirt.
If you ever see
I
it
have
in Goodwill.
I have Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff t-shirts from Homestuck, so you know I would buy a t-shirt
Cobes
with
in
a
the
JPEG.
wild. You found
I did
Cobes
find
in the
Cobes
wild.
in the wild. I found Cobes on a display on a local Hot Topic. Like a printed out picture of him was used in a display. Yeah.
The Drunken Peasants
Crazy.
Discord lost their shit for like 48 hours asking me for details.
I
had no details
I did a
to
double
give
take.
them.
There weren't any details. It was literally just a display on my. I was leaving Hot Topic and I looked down at the bottom of a display that somebody had decorated with a bunch of like printed out pictures of like memes and stuff. And one of the pictures was Cobes, and I was like, no way. I was like 5 feet out of the store before I was like, wait, I have to go back and take a picture of that. I'll be right back.
I remember
I
that
was
picture.
with somebody
That was
else.
so
I had
weird.
to stop and turn back. It was so strange.
I'd have no equivalent. Like if I ran across Cobes in the wild, like IRL, literally like Cobes, you know, I always talk shit, like positive or even occasionally negative towards the dude, especially when it comes to his cooking. But like, it's I go quiet. I go absolutely quiet. I wouldn't know what the fuck to say to the man. He'd just be like,
He's
no,
not
that can't
that-
be the real thing, can it?
He's not that far from me. His state is touching my state.
You know we have to have an LEV meetup in Omaha where then we go up to Casper. We get an RV
okay.
and we drive to Casper.
Hold up. I was gonna say I'm talking relatively for. It would still be like a 9-hour drive. That wouldn't be that
That's
fun.
what the RV is. We'd have detours. We'd have.
Whose RV are we using? What?
I'd rent some. It would be a stream goal, and if it was advertised right, people would fucking pay it. Someone already wanted me to do an Irish RVs trip, like the IP2 crowd, and I'm like, I don't know how to drive, so yeah.
I wish you luck in this endeavor. An RV would be a very expensive thing to rent.
We'd stop off at yours. You wouldn't have to join us. In fact, I recommend you don't.
Oh no! I'm just saying I wish you luck in putting together the money to rent an RV because that would be a chunk of change. So
it would be, I think, what 1,002, I think, for like a week and some change, I think.
When did you last? Never mind. This is not relevant.
Yeah,
to this
it's not
particular moment. But
yeah.
So you Buff Pharrell has ever gotten a copyright strike for what he does?
No.
I mean, he should. He's so on point.
How can I roll? Things right here have changed.
Someone's crying.
I'm crying.
With joy.
Yes.
You know what? I think this man deserves an Oscar.
He deserves an Oscar.
I like that old recurring joke on that.
I'll show it afterwards if you're curious.
No, you can save that for TDM. I don't need any of that.
I mean, yeah. Hey, to me that's 10 minutes. So.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's ever done street, busking with that kind of a thing.
He was.
Oh
on
shit!
stage.
I hope so.
Really early on, he was on stage at like a local town show, and he does like a strut. Oh, that's probably actually under popular.
There's a guy who stands outside, sort of near where, like, one of the locations of the anime store that I work at, because there's two. But outside one of the locations, there's a guy who does, like, I don't know if it's like parking lot busking, I guess. But he plays an electric violin, and he has like an amp that he brings with him and stuff. He's really good, actually. But yeah.
All right. I suppose seeing that
Omaha
I'll
has
be
a
able
surprising amount of
to.
street performers.
I suppose I'll be able to advertise to you guys later. Krendar, the only thing you need to do is advertise, and then we'll be out of here.
All right. Well, this week I broke in my new capture card that I have on the new computer here, so it's working nicely. Played some Metroid Dread this morning. That will be continuing for Thursday streams, except for next Thursday. I'm doing a one-off because the factory building in a alien cave network planet game Tectonica comes out next week. Starts in early access next week, so I'm going to play that for one stream, and then I'm going to go back to Metroid Dread again after that. So come hang out.
Cool.
And for me, I'll plug Chesh's channel because I do the Volcano show. If you want to see what
that works.
Yeah.
I gotta get Chesh on here one of these days.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for it.
Next Volcano show is going to be at 1 p.m. Pacific on August 11th. I also do the Unnamed Tavern, also with Dapper and other folks there. And then I think the next Unnamed Tavern show is on July 22nd at 3 p.m. Pacific.
All right. Well, I guess I'll see you guys. Yeah. I will see you guys in about 10 minutes or so. I've already got the thumbnail ready, so it's a simple matter of turning off this stream and turning on the next one and having a chance to do a little bit of an old stretchy, a little bit of the old spready, and then off we go to our next rip-roaring adventure, which is going to be far less structured, if you could even call this structured. So that's a hint of what's to come.
Don't call it spready. You'll get demonetized.
Why? Do I need an Australian accent? Do I need an Australian accent? I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it helps.
Yeah. We need to get Red back on.
Anyway,
right.
People sometimes confuse your accent with Australian accents. By the way.
Yes.
Is that something?
American, Canadian, English, French, Dutch, numerous non-places in Ireland, like Ballygo backwards, looking square at Elf for a little joke that we have between us.
That was a joke that was made by my French teacher when I went to college in Norfolk, so that's not even my joke, but
I know,
yeah.
but my God, I was like, no shit. She said what?
Yeah, no, she got us good.